military power ventured so far away in their conquests. Now, it's tempting to hear all this and conclude that Teotihuacan was the center of an empire spanning from the Pacific to the Atlantic, from central Mexico to the Guatemalan rainforests. But the real picture is much more murky. I'm sorry to say that. From about 350 CE to 450 CE, Teotihuacan adopted a very heavy-handed foreign policy, where they were able to intervene in the politics of neighboring states to safeguard their interests. If there was an imperial presence outside of central Mexico, it was very short-lived and would have required incredible resources to sustain it. Teotihuacan's foreign relations may have been far more nuanced and indirect as opposed to any kind of direct imperial rule. And honestly, that's fairly typical of major powers that will come and go in central Mexico. Finding information on this was actually not as easy as I would have hoped, but new research is starting to focus on Teotihuacan's interaction with its neighbors, so hopefully we can explore this in greater detail down the road. But just as important as Teotihuacan's military prowess was their economic preeminence. As we saw earlier,
thanks, Baron.
extremely high levels of
Dude,
production across the city, Teotihuacan was
I
an
don't
economic
understand
juggernaut
why
that managed
my
long-distance
my
trade
chat
across
isn't working on my phone.
This helped Teotihuacan's
Like it's
cultural
retarded.
influence spread all over Mesoamerica.
See how it's just
You'll
fucking.
recall that Tablero style
I can't get it to fucking work.
That same style begins to pop up all over
Oh my
Mesoamerica.
god,
Sticks
man, I'm
around
losing my
long after
mind.
Teotihuacan
Like,
was
why?
lost. Here it is in Chichen Itza, centuries later. Teotihuacan-style ceramics can be found all over Mesoamerica. Another diagnostic Teotihuacano item is their green obsidian that came from the nearby Pachuca mines. These can be found as far afield as Maya territory.
What's going
in
on
areas
here,
that
man?
don't show any evidence of Teotihuacan conquest. At the highland site of Caminal Huyu, Teotihuacan art is found.
It's just so dumb, man.
Signature Tablero style was appropriated for multiple structures at the site.
Oh my
as early
god.
as 200 CE. The citizens of Teotihuacan were not just exporters, but consumers of imported exotic goods as well. Recall those foreign barrios and neighborhoods that we mentioned earlier. Those were most likely housing merchants,
Really?
traders, and artisans who could get goods from the
I'm gonna have to uninstall and reinstall it.
Michoacan and the Gulf Coast into Teotihuacan. So what finally slowed down this powerhouse? After a zenith of 100 to 150 years, the city began a gradual decline in about 450 to 500 CE. Small signs of this slow decline can be detected in the fact that luxury goods and burials become steadily more rare. Despite this, the end was not inevitable, and the city was still a force to be reckoned with a massive population. But studies and grave offerings...
Thanks, Baron. Sorry about that, dude. I don't know what's going on. OBS is just friggin' cutting out stream now. Used to never happen on my computer. Now it's happening kind of frequently on my computer.
All of this finally culminated in an incredible event around 550 to 650 CE. The monumental
Occasionally on my
structures of the civic
computer.
ceremonial center were burned, and public artwork was destroyed. The cause of this isn't certain, and many colorful theories abound, such as foreign invasion, internal revolution, and political upheaval. Whatever the cause, it spelled the end of Teotihuacan's heyday and really sped up its decline. Now, Teotihuacan wasn't abandoned at this point, and it still chugged along for a few centuries in a very diminished state.
Why? Okay, it's broken. Even on my phone, I uninstalled. Like, it's literally broken, my friends.
Think of Rome under the emperors, followed by Rome under the popes. Still an important city, but not the seat of a great power.
Why?
After that 650 CE date, the ceramic style
changed,
likely as a result of new migrants from the Bajío in the west. In fact, Teotihuacan material culture dries up in the wake of the collapse. This phase is referred to as the Coyotlatelco, and it carries on into the post-classic period. With Teotihuacan in its twilight, other cities like Xochicalco, Cacaxtla, Cholula, and Tulachico.
Wow, so the stream manager is like broken. Disaster. Absolute disaster.
Teotihuacan was still on. It left a huge influence on subsequent cultures of
My
Mesoamerica.
channel.
The Aztecs in particular had a special reverence for the city,
Chat.
and it's said that Moctezuma II
I guess I could have this up here.
Aztec mythology
And have the chat open like
Teotihuacan at
that.
the center of creation, and this mythology has still been passed down to us.
I really don't want to see myself though. It's the only way. Chat only. Yes. Oh my god. Guys, we did it. We did it. It's a miracle. It's actually a
So there
miracle.
it was that the humble nanopot scene cast himself into the fire to become the fifth sun and bring light into the world. This is actually what gives Teotihuacan its name.
Oh my gosh, it's actually a miracle. It's a tangy zip. Yo, what's up, Dick?
This site was saved.
Toronto Toad.
Today, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, deservedly so. Unfortunately, development continues to threaten certain areas of the site, so don't take it for granted.
Thanks for being here, dude.
Mexico,
OBS is now cutting out
the site stays protected.
friggin' randomly
If you ever get a chance to visit the site, and this video
on
still
my.
hasn't convinced you, I highly recommend it. It's only a bus ride away from Mexico City, so it's very accessible. Well, that's going to wrap us up for today. Special thanks to my patrons listed right here. You guys
My streams are just cutting out randomly now.
join these fine individuals and support the channel. You can do so on Patreon. The link will be in the video description. Also, a big thanks to Majora Z for research assistance, and also to Jan Garcia of the channel Kana Nahuatl for his Nahuatl.
I can't see how many people are watching. I haven't seen.
Until next time,
I've turned off
next episode.
viewer count for me to see about a year ago, 2 years ago. I have no idea whom is watching or how many people are watching. I got no clue.
When you think of the Maya, you probably imagine towering pyramids, intricately carved stelae, sprawling cities, beautiful art, and writing. But how did all of these traits develop? Maya culture certainly wasn't the first in Mesoamerica, but it took off with incredible speed and brilliance. This period, in my opinion, is somewhat neglected in popular history, which is a shame because despite all of that development, Maya achievement during this time was still incredible. In this episode, we are going to take a look at the rise of Maya civilization. Before we get started, let's establish some chronology here, which I'm sure is everyone's favorite part of these episodes.
There you go, blocked.
Maya history is divided into three main phases: the pre-classic, the classic, and the post-classic. Today we're going to be focusing on the pre-classic period. Now, if you watch a documentary on the ancient Maya, you're almost certainly going to be learning about the classic or post-classic Maya. The classic period especially is associated with images of Maya's splendor. And although the term classic is ultimately subjective, I think it's pretty easy to see why. There are huge cities, beautiful art, written records that chronicle great ceremonies, wars and conquests, and the lives of kings. Sadly, none of that exists in the pre-classic. Or does it? Archaeology in the past few decades has completely changed our view of the pre-classic, and there's a lot to appreciate in Maya from its frequently passed over period in ancient Maya history. Now, the last few episodes I've done have been very in-depth episodes about very specific topics. The pre-classic period is a huge topic, and if I treated it
Oh
like
my
the last
god,
few
why?
episodes, this would be many episodes long, which I'm sure would thrill some people in the audience, but I'm not committing to that. As a result, this is going to feel more like a survey, but it's one that I think will allow us to appreciate the origins and development of Maya civilization in a way that viewing one specific site would not. Don't worry, plenty of material in this episode will be featured in much more detail in future episodes someday. Today, we're just looking at the big picture. And speaking of the big picture, let's take stock of what was going on in Mesoamerica real quick at 1000 BCE, at the beginning of the Middle Pre-Classic.
Oh.
The vast majority of the Maya were not sedentary, though maize agriculture was beginning to take hold. To the west, in the valley of Oaxaca, the Zapotec capital
you.
of San Jose Mogote was growing as Zapotec civilization began to take shape. Up in the Olmec territory, the site of San Lorenzo was beginning its final decline, while Leventa was just starting its ascent. Remember from our Olmec
I have
episode,
no idea where he went. I don't think this is gonna work.
wide into Mesoamerica. One area in particular that got a healthy dose of Olmec influence was the southern Maya region along the Pacific coast and the southern highlands. I didn't discuss it much in that episode because I knew we'd return there later, and now we've arrived. Hooray! The Olmec probably took an interest in this area for two reasons. The first for jade and obsidian in the Guatemalan highlands, and secondly because of its importance in cacao production. Everyone needs chocolate, am I right? Archaeology shows us that during Leventa's heyday, trade would link up the Olmec, Maya, and other Isthmian cultures across Mesoamerica. This contact would have brought cultural exchange as well. Olmec influence along the Pacific coast is pronounced, and what we see in this area is an interesting blend of Olmec and Maya culture, and it reached an incredible level of fluorescence in the Middle Preclassic period. Let's take a closer look at some of these cities, starting with Izapa. Izapa is a large site with very important connections to the Maya. The city was the center of a small state that was in contact with the Olmec capital of Leventa. When Leventa declined around 400 BCE, Izapa continued to thrive. Those east-west trade routes I just mentioned earlier get taken over by Izapa and other Pacific and Highland sites, though the trade itself appears to diminish somewhat without Olmec participation. Even before Leventa's final abandonment, Izapa was building pyramids, wall courts, and monuments. The style of these monuments would be exported to its neighbors. Indeed, Izapa exerted a great influence on the area, and for a time, it was one of the most important states in southern Mesoamerica. One feature of Izapa's urban design worth mentioning that also characterizes sites of this time period is an E-group. Now, what's an E-group? An E-group is an arrangement of platforms that feature a large temple flanked by a long platform.
Pretty fucking good.
These E-groups
Oh, it could have been better, but whatever. It's pretty good.
E-groups are also a feature at Olmec sites, most notably at Leventa. Now, E-groups are not an Izapan original, but they are worth noting because they're a feature across Maya and Mesoamerican sites, and they're going to become important later when we discuss their origin. For now, let's focus on what Izapa is really known for. It's stelae. These stelae, carved in low relief, contain not just Olmec, but Maya themes. I should point out that the city's location in this regard is significant, because it's speculated that it may have straddled the boundary of the Mixe-Zoque and Mayan linguistic areas. Remember that Mixe-Zoquian languages were very possibly the languages spoken by the Olmec and the people in the Isthmus of Tehuantepec.
What a scam.
This geographic placement may explain the styles and themes. Let's look at specific monuments at the site. Stela 2 and 25 contain images of the hero twins, and what Mayans refer to as the principal bird deity, who is sometimes associated with Seven Macaw from the Popol Vuh. Stela 67 shows what might be an image of the maize god sailing into the sky to take his place in the heavens. Other stelae show early images of Chak and Kawil, who are distinct Maya deities, not Olmec or Zapotec deities. These types of stelae are going to be an important element of Izapa style that will be exported all over the coast and into the highlands. Interestingly, there's no writing on any of the stelae at Izapa. If writing was,
That was a very fast run.
it's done so on perishable materials that have not survived. However, if we journey to the east to the sites of Takalikaba and El Baul, which are both large pre-classic settlements in their own right, we see great examples of that exported Izapa style. In fact, Takalikaba has hundreds of monuments, and also an E-group like Izapa and Leventa.
Yo, Toad, you must be moving soon, man. You must be moving like tomorrow.
From a colossal head. El Baul
Sorry to
is
dox
no
you.
less impressive with its Acropolis, ball court, and monuments. At both locations, we see those Izapa-style stelae with something new: calendar glyphs. These glyphs may be a bit rough for wear, but they're still readable. The earliest date that we can read is Stela 1 at El Baul, with a date in the year of 37 CE. At Takalikaba, Stela 2 has a date in the 1st century BCE. But more importantly, it
Chat
also has
only.
the earliest example of an intergovernmental
It's just
glyph.
so
It's going to be a feature
genius.
of log count inscriptions in the classic period. These are considered the earliest Maya dates recorded. Remember, the Epi-Olmec site of Tres Zapotes and the Olmec-influenced site of Chiapas-Corso have slightly earlier dates in their monuments, so these aren't the earliest calendar dates in Mesoamerica.
Holy
Also,
shit,
don't
you got
think
the
these
party.
inscriptions mark the beginning of the calendar's use. The calendar was definitely being used long before those dates were ever inscribed in stone. Oddly, no written inscriptions have survived from either site, but El Baul does have glyph
How did that guy not
cartouches in
shoot
several
me?
of its
Did he
stele.
pass away?
A cartouche is a French term that
Whatever,
denotes a
slow.
shape that encloses a glyph. Although they are empty now, it's speculated that glyphs would have been painted inside these cartouches long ago. The practice of erecting stelae with historical and mythological motifs at sites like Izapa, El Baul, and Tacahuicaba are often referred to as a stela cult. And this stela cult is eventually going to turn into a ruler cult in the classic period. We'll see lots of them. As cool as those sites are, the most impressive Highland Maya site is Caminal, located in the Guatemalan highlands just outside of modern-day Guatemala City. Caminal was a gigantic site during the pre-classic, but habitation at the site goes way back to 1200 BCE. By 700 BCE, the site already had a sophisticated irrigation system supplying water to a surging population. When it was first surveyed in the early 20th century, the city had over 200 earthen and adobe mounds. To add some context to that, Izapa only had about 80. Unfortunately, urban sprawl from Guatemala City has obliterated most of these in recent decades, and much of the work done there has been rescue and salvage archaeology. Now, I'd like to give Caminal Huyu its own episode someday, so we're going to stick to a bird's eye view for this episode. Caminal Huyu was perfectly placed in the highlands to benefit from trade between the Pacific and the Maya lowlands, and that made it fabulously wealthy and powerful. In particular, local obsidian proved to be a valuable export commodity, and archaeologists have found it all over Mesoamerica, even in the Olmec heartland. This wealth made it possible for Caminal Huyu to support a ruling elite. Judging from the fine obsidian, ceramic, and jade artifacts found in elite burials, these rulers were living the highland. Pottery from these burials matches the pottery style from the rest of the southern highlands and Pacific coast. But at Caminal Huyu, it attained a beautiful
Oh, I hate this game.
from its contemporary.
I hate this game.
These rulers were also able to commission beautiful stelae in that Izapa style with Maya themes. Like the stelae at Izapa, we see the portrayal of gods and kings that are identified by calendar glyphs. Remember that people in Mesoamerica were often named for the day that they were born, so these are most likely names rather than dates. Even more impressive is that some of these even have long inscriptions, but unfortunately they remain undeciphered. If you're wondering why this writing can't be read despite the decipherment of Maya writing, you need to keep in mind that Maya writing was still evolving, and that the pre-classic period was a melting pot of different scripts. Writing was developing all over Mesoamerica, and various but similar writing styles were being used across the entire region, and influencing one another. It's very likely that Olmec, Epi-Olmec,
Oh, when's the next delivery? Oh, when I get the fucking car fixed.
writing with each other to develop their own scripts. In particular, the Maya Ahau glyph seems to have had a long past in many
The
areas.
brake line
What finally
right
became
now,
classic
it's
Maya writing
the brake line is. I sprayed it with PB Blaster. It was like rusted to the master cylinder. I got a new master cylinder for $150 delivered with tax. The master brake cylinder, which is a reservoir, the piece that changes the brake pedal from kinetic energy to hydraulic energy, like liquid energy. But the fucking line is rusted to the piece, so I took a lighter to it for like a minute, 2 minutes, and then I shot PB Blaster in it, experimenting with the hot metal. It absorbs the cold liquid into the grooves, so now it's sitting overnight. I did that like 6, 7, 8 cycles of that, of the lighter for a minute with the PB Blaster. Because one of the lines came off so easily, but the second one is literally fucking impossible. It's really pissing me off. Like, I'm quite angry about it. But there's people online that go through a similar pain.
A few decades ago, this may have been where I'd wrap up the episode, concluding that Maya civilization originated in the highlands and was transmitted to the lowlands, where it would really take off during the Classic. But if I did that, I'd be neglecting some very productive recent decades of research that have dispelled that notion. As it turns out, the lowlands were also bustling with activity. Admittedly, in some ways they were a bit behind the curve. Sedentary agriculture and interregional trade took a bit longer to solidify here, but that
Guys,
doesn't mean
like,
that
what?
the local Maya were idle. Let's take a closer look, starting with the site of Sebal. Now, Sebal is technically a classic period site, but it has a rich and very illuminating pre-classic history as well. Recent work at the site has shown that habitation goes way back to nearly 1000 BCE, but probably not in the way you'd expect, because that date predates sedentary agriculture in the area. Instead, the local Maya were still
getting absolutely
practicing local
destroyed.
maize cultivation.
Getting
Even
just
though
like
moving around,
really
planting
destroyed
maize
tonight.
and returning to harvest it later. Despite this, they were still able to construct
In this game.
monumental platform mounds at the site, and these would have been topped with pole and thatch structures. It's actually here at Sebal, in the lowlands, that we see the oldest discovered E group. Keep in mind that this is earlier than the Olmec.
Have you seen Carl Jobs' new videos? He's a friggin' he's exposing the world. Carl Jobs is on a rampage, a positive rampage of exposing the world. It's amazing. I'm so impressed. Hats off to him, man. He just has this sense. I wish he would expose. Dude, that's like, he would be the man to do that. He would be the guy. He makes a YouTube video about it. That's what I mean. That's like, I was thinking, how is he like still able to do this? It's like, it's not controversial, but man, because if he starts going after the government, I think that's where he's gonna have issues. I mean, not that he doesn't already, with other people giving him issues because of his videos. Sadly. But man, his videos are insane. Like, the knowledge, the amount of information, it's insane. In so many games. It really is incredible. I was just thinking, man, fucking Badaboon. Just exposing everybody. It's insane, man.
Archaeologists have discovered that the Great Pyramids of the city have their origins in the pre-classic around 600 BCE. Most interesting, and also similar to Kaminal we find evidence of royalty in very rich tombs that most likely belong to the rulers of the city. Among the goods in these tombs, we find stingray spines, which may not seem like much now.
That's shite.
They'll come up shortly as an important element of kingship. In fact, later classic texts allude to rulers in the pre-classic period, most notably Yash-eb-Shuk, who reigned in the 1st century CE. However, even by that time, kingship was probably a venerable institution that went back centuries into the pre-classic.
Yeah, the judicial system is completely compromised. Especially special cases.
What, in my opinion, is the most incredible Maya discovery of the 21st century, the San Bartolo murals.
Guys, I am not playing very well tonight at all.
Story that I don't have time to tell, but if you want to hear it from the horse's mouth, I've linked a lecture in the description in which Dr. William Saturno recounts the story of his discovery of this. So if you want to know more, check it out. It's a good watch. The San Bartolo mural.
I need to load the vape again.
In one scene, a very Olmec-looking maize god surrounded by maidens takes a gourd of water. The other wall shows 4 men, likely kings dressed as the hero twins, perforating their penises with stingray spines in a bloodletting ritual in front of an offering before the world tree.
Oh my god, I don't remember how to play this.
The principal bird deity with a snake in its mouth. For all the men in the audience who
Oh my god, I don't remember. No, there's no way. I may never play this level again.
was being performed by kings in the word of advice. If someone ever offers you the job of being a Maya king, think carefully before you answer. Being a king ain't all fun and games. Now, I do want to qualify what I said earlier. While many Mayanists consider these figures to be kings, others speculate that they could be mythological figures. But regardless of what you think, the connections to later rituals are unmistakable. What's more, the San Bartolo murals are just as sophisticated and beautiful as later murals from the classic and post-classic era, and it shows that Maya painting was already at a very advanced stage of development. But wait, there's more! At the end of the mural chamber is a tomb that had early glyphs written on the wall. Although these glyphs have some similarities to other early scripts and to later Maya script, these characters are too old.
I think it's gonna be a short one, my friends. I'm playing really poorly. I might play some Mega Man, honestly. Casual Mega Man. It'd be fucking amazing. I might do that.
Now, as impressive as those lowland sites are, they are nothing compared to what was happening in the Mirador Basin. The Mirador Basin is one of the most remote areas of the Ten
I also want to I want to try doing 2.x archives for 16.
Excavations at these sites stunned scholars by their size and beauty. One of the most important early Maya sites is the site of Nakbe. Similar to Ceibal, Nakbe was an early city that had substantial monumental construction going all the way back to about 600
Fuck you, man.
and even earlier occupations.
Like, he's fucking never there. And then randomly that run he's there. Like, come on. Like, it's just so dumb. I don't think it's gonna work anyways. It's just, everything is just so shit.
One very important design that also comes from Nakbe, although it's debatable whether or not this is the earliest such example, is a triadic group. A triadic group is an arrangement of three structures on an elevated platform, consisting of a main temple flanked by two smaller temples. There are differing interpretations of this design, but the most common is that this is a recreation of the cosmic hearth of creation, which the Maya saw in the sky as the lower half of Orion, with the Orion Nebula representing the embers of the hearth. Even today, many Maya make their hearths on three stones, just as their ancestors did. Others have interpreted this design as a symbolic monument to the resurrection of the maize god on Flower Mountain by the hero twins. Regardless of which interpretation you like, triadic groups feature...
Yeah, man, dude, can you imagine? Like, Jobs is, like, destroying these guys. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being one of those guys? Man. And then Jobs makes a video. I mean, I'm not criticizing Carl. I'm just saying it's just so crazy. It's like Robin Hood. Not really. No, that's not right. It's not, that's not the right. It's not the right person. Carl Jobst is like, I don't know, Paul Mooney.
And it's a pre-classic site. Now today I'm just going to give you the highlight reel of the site, but rest assured that someday we will return for a much more in-depth treatment of this amazing site. By the late pre-classic, El Mirador was the greatest urban site the Maya region had ever seen, with huge...
Carl Jobst is Paul Mooney.
Triadic arrangements, monumental art, inscriptions, ball courts, hydraulic infrastructure, and massive agricultural terraces. El Mirador had it. At the base of many of these structures are elaborate stucco works, not just masks, but whole scenes from mythology. The most famous example shows the hero twins swimming in water, possibly from the part of the Popol Vuh where they're resurrected as fish. El Mirador's main pyramid, La Danta, is one of the biggest pyramids in the world. Remember in the Teotihuacan episode where I mentioned that the Pyramid of the Sun is not the tallest ancient structure in the Americas, despite claims to the contrary? Yeah, that honor goes to La Danta. It rises to an impressive 72 meters.
It's insane though. It's really interesting if you think about it in the spiritual sense, because it's like the game is a metaphor whether you cheat in a game or whatever, a relationship and anything. It's just a metaphor. But then you think it's a video game, you can't have life-changing consequences, but oh, it does. I think it. I'm not underestimating the value and power of video games. I'm just saying they have such a powerful negative effect in terms of shame and deceit and lack of trust and loss of friendship. It's just a crazy dynamic. Like, you know what's crazy dynamic? These motherfuckers, man. Oh my god, they're just not cooperating at all. Crazy dynamics to DJ, I know. Thanks, man. Thanks for listening to my rants. Man, what a wealth. What a great friend. But also, what a wealth of information. Isn't it his birthday today? Or tomorrow? I think it's his birthday today. Or tomorrow. Or yesterday. Happy birthday, Dynamics. I know it's like 5 a.m. there, 4 a.m. Dude, remember when he was up fucking all-nighters, pulling all-nighters, giving tips, man? Dude, we had it so good. Now it's like a fucking desert. And we come across just oases of information. For the Aztec, stay for the boys. Did he even sleep? Yeah. Dude, he went deep, man. He became Neo. He became Neo of GoldenEye. He really went deep, man. He got some insane times. Got a lot of insane times. He did all 60. He did all 60 when it wasn't cool. Well, it was cool because he was doing it, but... I hope I've instilled some appreciation for the pre-classic mind. The sad truth is that the splendor of the classic period often outshines the brilliance of the pre-classic achievements of the mind. And in some ways, like at El Mirador, those achievements were unsurpassed. Yeah, man. Happy birthday, Dynamics DJ. About this period is that new discoveries are happening all the time. Just last year, a huge... I mean that with all the most sincerity. By the mind. And in case you think that this is recent, further research found that it was built almost 3,000 years ago. There's no telling what else the landscape of Guatemala and Mexico are still hiding. Let's just hope that the looters haven't gotten everything first. Oh my gosh, and Gamer Girl, where's Gamer Girl? We miss Gamer Girl. We miss Blue Fire Phoenix. We miss everybody. If you would like to join the ranks of these fine individuals and support the show, you can do so on Patreon. I guess it would help if I played a different level instead of just one level. She's an Instagram influencer, nice. Isn't that the dream? Like, I mean it. Guys, like, I really suck today. I suck a lot. I'm not very good today, I'm sorry. Everybody say thank you now. If you'd like to support the show and occasionally vote on special topics, you can do so on Patreon. Thank you for your support. Be sure to stick around at the end of the episode for some announcements. I have no idea what this is. Autoplay is on. Few people in the pre-colonial history of Mexico are as well known and celebrated as Nezahualcóyotl. He was a ruler who remained near and dear in the memory of his people long after his death.
So much so that his legacy survived the Spanish conquest and even thrived.
Yeah, Dick. Yo,
But even to
Blue
cultivate
Khakis
those
downloaded your app too, man.
Tlatoani
He told me.
doesn't begin
That's
to do
sick,
his
dude.
name justice. He wasn't just a revered Tlatoanian ruler of the city of Texcoco.
Everyone should. Everyone should have it. Everyone would find it beneficial, for sure. I might use it right now. Have like an ambient noise going on in the background while I play. Maybe some rain.
Grab a drink and a snack. It's gonna be a long.
But fuck rain. I love the sun. Maybe. He's a good old chap. He is.
It's impossible to talk about Nezahualcóyotl's life and accomplishments without
It's a good old app.
politics of the Valley of Mexico. In 1400 CE, the valley was under the firm rule of the Tepanec Empire.
I ruined the delivery on that one.
Ruler Tezosomoc. The Tepanecs were somewhat latecomers to the Valley of Mexico, descending from Chichimeca
Oh,
that migrated
man.
from the north into the valley and settled on the western side of the lake around the 13th century. Now, they were not the only Chichimeca group migrating south. The Acolwa also migrated into the valley around this time and settled on the eastern side. For those that are curious, these migrations predated the migration of the Mexica, better known as Aztecs, into the valley. The Aztecs were the tribe that founded Tenochtitlan and later controlled the Aztec Empire. After their migrations, the Tepanecs and the Acolwa would coalesce
Good old app without good old chap.
respective capitals, the great cities of Azcapotzalco and in the late 1300s, Tezosomoc would begin a lifelong undertaking of
Funny.
trying to unite the valley under his control. Tezosomoc was a ruler that one could compare to William the Conqueror, and a diplomat that one could compare to Bismarck. He could be devastating in battle.
Dude, he was also saying he taught English in Prague for 8 years or something.
The city of Texcoco had actually assisted with
That's a great idea, man. I might want to do that.
along with some recent newcomers.
Teach English overseas. It'd be amazing. That would be like insanely amazing.
At the time, the Tepanec rise had profited Texcoco by eliminating rivals and allowing Ixtaczochi to consolidate his own power. It was during this riveting time that Nezahualcóyotl was born in the year 1 Toshka, or 1402 by our calendar, on the day of Deer. This day name would have been the name used throughout his youth. Being the son of the queen, Matlacihuatzin, the daughter of Huitzilopochtli, the second Tlatoani of Tenochtitlan, he was the heir apparent of Texcoco. Nezahualcóyotl, or rather, the boy that would become Nezahualcóyotl, would have spent his early years attending the local college.
Like, what's this? You guys, this level, man.
This seminary-like environment was a necessity for anyone looking for a career in the service of the state. However, those studious years would be cut short by politics. In the year 13
One chat about it.
1412, Ixtaczochi I, full of confidence, crowned himself amidst lavish ceremony the Chichimecat, the lord of the Chichimeca.
Oh, right, because Blue Khakis, he's a web developer. Oh, no, you're talking about the English. Thanks, man. Yeah, dude. I'm really gonna do it. I'm gonna apply. I'm looking to it. I'm gonna Prague, yeah, really.
One last chance to swear fields, and his refusal to bend the knee finally ignited the long-brewing conflict between
Yeah, is there an opening since you're leaving?
the initial war. Ixtaczochi
Can I just, like, take your old spot? I'm really impatient, though.
Now, Tezosomoc was no quitter, and he wasn't about to let a temporary setback.
I did teaching once for a bit. It was really stressful. I had, like, a lot of stomach stress and acid reflux and stuff. It's really stressful. I didn't really enjoy it. And I'm quite lazy. I don't know if I can sit 8 hours and perform 8 hours in front of someone. I don't know if it's 8 hours or pretty much anywhere. Well, I mean, not particular. I mean, I wouldn't mind Prague, but it's not. I was thinking something more tropical, something a little more sunny. I know Portuguese.
It's a good thing that Ishtashochi did not go himself because his brother was
And
brutally
French.
murdered and flayed. Unfortunately, the Tepanek preparations were too well
French is
laid,
my
and
second
Ishtashochi's
language. Portuguese is my
defenses
third.
collapsed. So desperate was Ishtashochi that he sent Nezahualcóyotl's half-brother, Sihuaquequenotsin, to plead with the city of Otampan. Otampan had been punished by Texcoco years
Like doing
prior,
Brazil. I mean, thinking Brazil.
and this was an enormous
But I mean,
effort.
Brazil has a lot of
One had
teachers.
failed. Upon his arrival, the Otampan leadership affirmed their allegiance to the Tepaneks before casting him to the angry mob that was present. Sihuaquequenotsin was torn to pieces by the crowd. His fingernails later
I lived in
reported
Brazil. I lived in Porto Alegre for 4 years in the
with all
south.
their options exhausted and the city about to fall, Ishtashochi and 16-year-old One Deer fled into the
Oh
wilderness,
my god.
pursued not just by the armies of Aztec
Doing science,
but Tenochtitlan,
ecology. Well,
treacherous
yeah, ecology, the science of the environment.
With their enemies closing in, Ishtashochi made his
French, nice buddy.
he decided to give himself
Allez-y.
instructing his son
Hide under this tree. Remember, if you die, with you ends the ancient power of the Chichimecan kings. Go later to your relatives at
What the fuck is this sound? Who's talking?
Remember that you are
Oh my god.
covering your empire.
as his father instructed, he hid under a nearby fallen tree, only to watch his father face his pursuers, die in the ensuing skirmish, and be stripped of his reward.
Probably not.
This event must have been
Qualification,
heartbreaking
yeah.
for the boy to witness. The war had
Yeah,
claimed
I've heard you
his
don't.
brothers, his uncle, and finally it had claimed his father.
But it would just make it everything easier.
The next day, soldiers
Instead of having to
arrived
learn Czech.
and gathered the body and prepared it for an burial.
You know what I mean?
At this moment, as his
You-
father's
you
body
definitely know what I
rested
mean.
on the pyre, One Deer revealed himself and advised the men still loyal to him that they should return to Texcoco and submit to Tezosomoc until the time came to throw off Tepanek rule. As for himself, he would remain in hiding. He was all too aware that Tezosomoc would not suffer the heir of Texcoco to remain alone. In fact, Tezosomoc would have anyone professing public loyalty to the young prince executed for treason.
Alright.
So the young
TEFL
One Deer
course.
fled into the woods, away
Cool,
from
man.
the for his foes, where he became
Teach
known as
English.
Nezahualcóyotl, the hungry coyote. And boy, was he hungry to retake his empire.
I don't know what TFL stands
These were
for.
rough times for the younger prince.
Foreign
He
language.
eulogized this period later in his life with the poem In Cholitl
Foreign learning. I speak Python. Wow. Guy, man. You fucking guy. Sorry, I don't mean to say that. Sorry, pardon me. I didn't mean that to come out sound so rude. But that joke was really good. What the fuck is this? Who's talking? Like, honestly, this is retarded. Please. What? It's too dumb, guys. It's just too dumb. Okay, I was right in the fucking middle there.
tlaltikpak. Yen neli kokok, ye otimaliwiko nimotlok, monawak, ipa de mowa. Iyawe, iyawe, ayawe, owia. Sanikin temoa, aya.
That was terrible. That may have been the world's worst attempt.
Sepa witke, inquish ok nemikiwi. Sansen tia, poliwia. Sansen yen ikan in tlaltikpak. Maka kokoya, inyolo, itlok inawak.
What the fuck is going on here?
Iyao, iyawe, awai.
This is fucking retarded.
My gratitude to Jan Garcia for this reading. Check out his channel in the description below if you're interested in his Nawa content, but back to our story. In these years of exile, Nezahualcóyotl bided his time. He must have been aware that he presently had very little besides his royal claim with which to oppose the Tepenecs. Following his father's advice, he made his way to Tlaxcala, where he could find refuge with his relatives beyond the grasp of Tezosomoc. Nezahualcóyotl used this time to travel in disguise through his kingdom, sizing up the mood of his people and the nature of the new year.
What the fuck, man?
Tezosomoc still hadn't given up the hunt for the young prince. Even if he was the hungry coyote, Nezahualcóyotl wasn't alone, and he made use of his connections, especially those of his kin. Remember, his mother, Matflesihuatzin, was the daughter of the Tlatoani of Tenochtitlan, which meant that he had relatives there. After 3 years in Tlaxcala, his relatives in Tenochtitlan made a plea to the ancient Tezosomoc to allow him to live in Tenochtitlan under their watch. They pointed out that Nezahualcóyotl was just a boy and had never taken up arms against the Tepenecas since his exile, and was not a threat to anyone outside of his home. Tezosomoc was getting old, and he was starting to mellow out, and he actually agreed to this so long as Nezahualcóyotl never left Tenochtitlan or Tlatelolco. Having a potential Texcoco heir could possibly come in handy someday. This allowed Nezahualcóyotl to come out of hiding and to live publicly once again. In his 2 years at Tenochtitlan, he became very close to his uncle Chimalpopoca, the Tlatoani of Tenochtitlan, and assisted him in various building projects across the city. The Mexica had been enemies of Texcoco in the previous war, but those bonds of kinship proved much stronger than old hostilities. These years were to prove instrumental in his upbringing as we'll see later. But Nezahualcóyotl was not to remain
Come on, man.
Mexica relatives forever. Again, his aunts besieged Tezosomoc to allow him to return home to Texcoco, explaining that he had never disobeyed the conditions of his residence and should be allowed to return to his ancestral home. By this point, Tezosomoc was nearing the end of his life. His wars were fought, his conquests complete, and tribute was flowing into Aztec, and his mind was focused on his succession. So he agreed to this as long as Nezahualcóyotl never left Texcoco, along with Tenochtitlan and Tlatelolco. Now, I do want to clarify that this didn't mean he would rule over the city. He wasn't being invested with any political power. He would just be an ordinary citizen. Regardless, it still meant that Texcoco's prodigal son could finally return home. And by all accounts, the city was happy to have him back. Not only was he a respected individual, but he was the rightful heir, and that meant that he would always represent an alternative to the chief of Tepenec rule and tribute. Even if he didn't have an army today, the possibility of him leading an army tomorrow must have lingered in their minds. Nezahualcóyotl's later biographers paint these days in Texcoco as very careful.
What? Like what? Oh my god.
Enjoyed the company of beautiful women, and spent time with his Mexica relatives. All was well until the heart of Tezosomoc changed. With death drawing closer, Tezosomoc began to second-guess his decision to allow Nezahualcóyotl to return home, and began to plot his assassination, especially at the urging of his son, Mashla. Thankfully for our man, sympathizers were able to alert Nezahualcóyotl of his attempts, and he was cleverly able to dodge them one after another, much to Tezosomoc's frustration. By now, the Tepenec Emperor was at the moment of death. Before he died, he made his sons swear that they would fulfill his final wish to kill Nezahualcóyotl. With Tezosomoc gone, all the lords of the valley, Nezahualcóyotl included, were invited to his exquisite funeral. Tezosomoc's eventual heir, Mashla, planned to have him assassinated at the funeral, but Nezahualcóyotl's years of flight had taught him to gracefully elude harm, and he escaped the city before the trap could be sprung. Now, Tezosomoc's succession would not be a peaceful one. Mashla was originally relegated to the city of Coyoacán, with his brother Teotzin governing in Aztec. When Tezosomoc died,
I'm gonna grab some food from downstairs, take an eating break. actually a pretty good idea. I might do that right now. And then play a bit after, maybe.
Murdered his brother.
Probably.
After which he turned his attention to unfinished business, and as you
Maybe.
guessed, one of those items was Nezahualcoyot's demise. Assassins were sent, traps made, but Nezahualcoyot continued to evade them. By this time, he was very well connected with other Akolwa in Mashla's circle. He also
Please,
had
like,
unending
why?
sense of trap. Finally, Mashla had had enough of this toying around and sent his generals to Texcoco to bring Nezahualcoyot to him. At which point, Nezahualcoyot prepared a feast for his honored guests, sat everyone down, and snuck out the back of the palace and back into the mountains. Back at square one. But not really, because unlike his first exile in the wilderness, Nezahualcoyot didn't just focus on staying alive. He began to plan the campaign to challenge the Tepanecs once and for all. For one thing, he wasn't alone, but with a small group of followers who looked to him to throw off the Tepanec yoke. They set out to the city of Hueshotzingo. From here, Nezahualcoyot sent out his messengers to Tlaxcala and Chalco. But things took a fortuitous turn when ambassadors from Tenochtitlan appeared in Hueshotzingo, asking Nezahualcoyot for an alliance of Tenochtitlan and Texcoco against Aztec and Mashla. Unbeknownst to Nezahualcoyot, on the other side of the lake, important developments.
I think I'm too close. I may pass away from the fire.
Between the Mexica and the Tepaneca was finally beginning to fray. The Mexica had long been a vital ally of the Tepanecs and a cornerstone of their power, but they had amassed more and more power over the past few decades, and they were beginning to look more like rivals than allies to the Tepaneca.
Brutal, man.
Worse, they had backed Teotzi against Mashla. After Mashla's coup, Chimalpopoca had offered himself to Mashla as a plea for mercy on his city. Now, the Mexica were
Like,
a
it's just so
very
brutal.
proud and martial people, and Chimalpopoca's actions were seen as craven by the Mexica, who would eventually execute their own Tlatoani and replace him with a very
Was that like
courageous
141 pages or something?
Now the way was paved for an alliance with Texcoco. With everything coming together, the Akolwa,
Not very good. I'll be right back.
Chalcas set out against Mashla. Nezahualcoyot planned an offensive directly to Azcapotzalco, but first they needed to retake Texcoco. One can imagine Mashla's shock when Nezahualcoyot's forces stormed Texcoco and finally liberated it from Tepanec rule. The entrance into the city was marked by the joyous rapture of his subjects, the smell of flowers and of incense, and the satisfaction of finally fulfilling his father's final charge. With Texcoco finally free, Nezahualcoyot could march towards Azcapotzalco. Before they could set out, Nezahualcoyot discovered some discontent in his army. His men had been grumbling about their plain, simple cotton armor compared to the finery sported by the brilliant eagle and jaguar warriors of their allies. Nezahualcoyot encouraged them.
External decorations do not increase the valor of those who sport them, but that of the enemy, whose greed drives him to victory to obtain the spoil. In this battle, you will win the adornments you seek. Look at the splendor of your enemies that now only weighs them down in battle. When the war is over, their splendor shall be yours.
Once he had had his say, his men were both proud of their efficient outfits and hungry for the reward of battle. His charisma had diffused a potentially toxic situation. By this point, Mashla was currently besieging Tenochtitlan, so the Mexica had their hands full. The arrival of Akolwa forces via canoe across the lake, coupled with a renewed offensive by Itzcoatl, pushed Mashla and his forces back to Azcapotzalco. Itzcoatl and Nezahualcoyot dug in and prepared a siege of the city. As the siege wore on and starvation began to set in, Mashla became increasingly desperate and sent out messengers to implore his allies to lift the siege. And this actually paid off, because a relief force came out to meet the men of the Akolwa. Mashla now had his chance to crush the forces of Nezahualcoyot between these two armies. Now, most leaders might have reasonably given up the siege and retreated to a better position to do battle, but not our man, no. Nezahualcoyot and his allies buckled down and faced the enemy on both sides. The siege would continue. It must. Against all odds, the men of Texcoco and Hueshotzingo put the relief army to flight, and even managed to wound Mashla in the battle. As their last hope went up in smoke, the city capitulated. Azcapotzalco had finally fallen. As the allies pillaged and looted their way through the streets, Nezahualcoyot sought out Mashla in his palace. When he finally found him, he had Mashla brought out to the sacrificial stone in the center of the city and personally cut him open and raised his heart to the heavens, giving his blood back to the earth and the gods. It must have been a supreme moment of triumph for Nezahualcóyotl. His father avenged, his enemies defeated, and the wealth of Azcapotzalco for the taking. Nezahualcóyotl's performance was remarkable. He had fled his city with a small following and had amassed an army and coalition to bring down the greatest empire in Mesoamerica. Now it was time to plan the new order. Even in triumph, Nezahualcóyotl knew the limits of Texcoco's power. He couldn't dominate the valley as Tezosomoc had done. In order to achieve security for his kingdom, it was in his interest to share hegemony with the new up-and-coming power in the valley, the Mexica. Back in Tenochtitlan, Itzcoatl and Nezahualcóyotl worked out a new alliance between Tenochtitlan and Texcoco, in which they would dominate the valley together. However, tradition dictated that alliances were made of 3 parties, not 2, and Nezahualcóyotl urged Itzcoatl to include the city of Tlacopan. Tlacopan was actually a Tepanec city, and although it hadn't fought against Maxtla, it had remained neutral, and Nezahualcóyotl knew that giving the Tepanecs a place in the alliance would impart some dignity on their dishonored former foes, and help ensure a peace going forward. Nezahualcóyotl would even take this farther and pardon several Tepanec figures in Texcoco against Itzcoatl's protests. With this arrangement, Tenochtitlan and Texcoco would each receive 2/5 of all tribute, and Tlacopan the remaining 1/5. The Triple Alliance, as it became known, would last all the way until Spanish contact. Unfortunately, all this time spent in Tenochtitlan securing Texcoco's political position was beginning to grate on his subjects back home, who began to grow restless in his absence. This left a power vacuum in Texcoco, and it actually culminated in an open rebellion led by a half-brother of Nezahualcóyotl's, Tilmatzi. The only thing worse than politics is politics with your family. Fortunately, that uprising would peter out when Itzcoatl and Nezahualcóyotl returned to Texcoco in 1431 to crown him Acolwa Tecutli, the Chichimecat. It's worth pointing out that the Mexica had every reason to help Nezahualcóyotl secure his throne. He was a close and loyal ally and an important keystone in the Triple Alliance. Other Texcoco hopefuls may not have been so receptive to Mexica dominance. Remember, Texcoco and Tenochtitlan were former enemies. Regardless, Nezahualcóyotl returned and was back on his throne, and now he could finally focus on ruling his kingdom and rebuilding Texcoco. This is really where Nezahualcóyotl the Tlatoani and the lawgiver comes into focus. Now, when Nezahualcóyotl left Tenochtitlan for Texcoco, he brought several priests and government officials because one of the first items of business was the institution of a new code of laws. Now, there's modern speculation about the novelty of this law. Later chroniclers attribute this code to the enlightened mind of Nezahualcóyotl himself, but this is slightly problematic because the laws recorded in these accounts have many similarities with the laws in Tenochtitlan. As attractive as the image of Nezahualcóyotl as a visionary lawgiver is, it's likely an oversimplification. The fact is that Nezahualcóyotl would have already been very familiar with Mexica law from his long residence in the city, and it's very likely that he imported it into Texcoco to replace the Tepanec laws. Even if these laws were borrowed, Nezahualcóyotl earned a reputation as a strict legalist. The law might be harsh, but Nezahualcóyotl always executed it impartially and without mitigating circumstances. He was keen to punish corruption and keep the judicial system ever efficient. His own family wasn't even spared this vigilance, and he executed 2 of his own sons for adultery and sodomy. On one of these occasions, he's said to have said,
Let my son die. On those of noble blood, a heavier responsibility rests than an indulger. It is the law that a man die for adultery. Let my son die. Yes, and a woman too, according to the law.
Such actions instilled a pride and confidence in the justice of the state. But Nezahualcóyotl wasn't just a hard-ass. He was also deeply sympathetic to his subjects, and his biography is full of examples of his concern for the common people. In one episode, after hearing about a man being punished for stealing maize to feed his starving family, he ordered that maize, beans, and squash be planted along all the roads so that anyone in need could take food without stealing. In another famous episode, while walking through his kingdom in disguise, he met a weeping child gathering wood outside of his own private forest reserve, and upon hearing the child grumble that the law prohibited anyone from entering the forest to gather wood, he returned to the palace, called the boys' family, showered them with wood, maize, coca, and fine cotton mantles, and announced that the forest was now open to all common people, so long as they did not cut any living wood, so that the forest would be preserved. Stories like this show why Nezahualcóyotl was a revered ruler, even long after his death and long after Spanish conquest. But Nezahualcóyotl was also remembered as an artist and philosopher. Indeed, he still is to this day. I think it's safe to assume that his long exile had aroused a creative energy, and now that he wasn't dodging constant assassination attempts, he could finally indulge it. But Nezahualcóyotl's dynamism wasn't simply the result of his own energy. He attracted other artists in the valley and patronized them at Texcoco. This brought metalsmiths, featherworkers, book painters, jewelers, wood and stone carvers, and other poets and singers to the city. He encouraged their creativity by hosting festivals in which artists could be rewarded for their work. He even exempted them from taxation, stating that their tribute was a tribute of beauty. These artisans not only enriched Nezahualcóyotl's building projects and court, but turned Texcoco into a flourishing center of arts and philosophy. Perhaps the most famous works are the many poems that are attributed to him. Now, we can't go through Nezahualcóyotl's entire catalog of poems and songs. That's an entire episode in itself. But I do want to showcase a good typical Nezahualcóyotl poem, and one that I enjoy is Xochitl, the flower tree. Just some context here, this poem, or flower song as it would have been called, was composed at the Feast of Flowers, a festival that was celebrated just before autumn's arrival.
Xiawilonpewa, xiawiloncuica, xicuicani, ticuicani, huia, macho nahuiacani, onelelquixtilon, ipalnemuani, iyeu ayawi owaya. Macho nahuiacani, yetech onquimiloa, ipalnemoa, ye xochimaquistica, netotilo, ye nevivío, aya, muxochiu, aowaya, yao, o ama, iyewaya, awayao, aye owaya, ye momamana ya intoki, maquiscalitec, sante oquitlacalique, mowayan, xochincuauix, ye mowishowa, san ye motzitzeloa, ma intlachichina, quetzaltotl, ma intlachichina, intzacuan, techolan, owaya, xochincuauitl, timochiu, timaxeliwi, tihuitoliwi, oya timoquetzaco, inyewan, ixpan timomati, tewan nipapan xochitl, owaya, ma okxon yahtika, okxon cuepontica.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
We're up. Mr. Rutan, good to see you, sir.
Been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was exciting running into you out here.
Yeah.
Texas. You're a Texas resident.
Texas, I got a hat and everything. I need a belt
you get a
buckle.
hat?
Oh yeah. I got the boots, and I rode a Longhorn for where was it in this little village here? So Banderas, like a big freaking Longhorn.
You got on one of those things?
I got one. Yeah, I rode one.
Did
yeah.
they let you ride them, or they try to buck you off?
He said this guy is hanging out with kids like 6 years old. He's very, very calm. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Those Longhorns are wild, huh?
Dude, it's
Longhorns
crazy
are
if you see it.
insane.
Giant. Yeah. Everybody, the whole street will stop.
When did
When you
you come out here?
July 4th, the 4th of July last year.
Yeah?
Fireworks and everything. I was at the top building. We had an apartment for a year. So it was give us time, a year, to find a home, which we did. So we're probably going to move in next week. But the top building, it was the park, a Landa Park in New Braunfels, where they have the fireworks. And man, it was nice. They welcomed me on the 4th of July with the fireworks.
That's nice. You
Yeah.
finally get fed up with California, huh?
Yeah, doesn't everybody? That's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
it's
too much.
fucking. I would have never imagined 5 years ago
Yeah.
that there'd be this mass exodus,
Yeah.
and then most of my friends would live out here now. It's crazy.
But also Ventura County, where I'm from, is like Orange County. Still, the laws are a little bit easier,
Yeah.
right? Than LA. But once it starts getting there, my wife already said it for 6 years. Here we gotta go. This is gonna go wrong.
Yeah. Well, I was always wanting to get out, but I was so connected to the Comedy Store that I always felt like, God, I can't leave that place behind.
Yeah.
You know, but then when the pandemic hit, it's like, well, I guess we're not even doing comedy anymore, so
Yeah.
fuck it.
Yeah.
You know?
Do it here, and now you got one.
Yeah, now I got one. Crazy.
Yeah. Life has been crazy
The whole thing
for
is
you.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you settling in out here? Are you enjoying it?
We're loving it. The people, every single person who comes to visit, their whole is a little bit preserved, with the Texas mentality. But when they come off the planes, the first thing they say, until now, like 8 out of 8, people are so nice here. It's the
Yeah.
first thing they say.
Yeah.
So I think they really love it. We have a daughter, the middle daughter that I have. She still lives in California, and she didn't really like Texas, but now she's been here, and her fiance, they were here last week, and I see it with him as well. He goes, "But it's really nice here."
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's different, and it's also less people. The less people thing is gigantic. I don't think you can underestimate that enough.
Yeah.
Because I think, or overestimate that enough, because overstate that enough. I think that people get too used to too many people, and then they view people as a nuisance. And out here, that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Out here, when people they're friendly. They're just friendly to people.
But
It's
also,
nice.
they're different as well.
Yeah.
I think that it's
Well, they're armed.
they'll help, right?
That helps a lot.
It's like on a plane. Everybody should get a little baseball bat, when they walk in. I'm going to hijack the plane. Everybody
or a
goes, "Really?"
taser.
Or a taser.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
so-
but a taser with me, and at the time when I was, okay, so a friend of mine, Holber Kelleny, from Mindhunter, that actor, he gave me a taser. So at my birthday, I open it up, I grab the taser, I put a battery in, I'm looking up, and not a single person is in the room. Everybody ran out. You see?
Because they think you're going to
Oh,
try it on.
100%. Any person I see, I'm going to try it. So I would do that on the plane as well. It was immediately. Yeah, it's the funniest thing ever. I go, "Where's everybody?"
Did you tase anybody yet?
No.
No one?
I
Not
mean,
even
still
yourself?
To this day, I want to try it. I gotta
I
go.
would just jab my thigh one time just to see
Oh,
what's
that I
up.
did. I did it even
Yeah.
on my head. Yeah, no, that I did. But I want to see if because they say it's impossible. I might be full of myself. I think I can pull them out. But
Yeah,
I
some
would love to try it.
some people can take it. I've watched videos.
Yeah.
There's some people that are on certain drugs that they just pull those things right out of their body. I
Yeah.
saw one where the cops had to shoot the guy because they tased him and the guy kept coming at him.
Yeah.
And then finally he's like, okay,
You're going to die now.
bang bang.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy though because some people just stiffen up.
Yeah,
and they
she's-
fall down, and this guy just fucking.
I think I can mind over matter, but then again,
I don't even know if it's mind over matter. I don't know. Maybe it was a weak taser. Because that's one of the things that a friend of mine told me, and it's actually in a book. It's in one of the Gray Men books. That those tasers are like, especially the personal ones that people have.
Yeah.
They vastly overestimate the stopping power of those things. Because
Okay.
girls think, I'm going to get you with this taser. Like, but don't get the wrong person. 'Cause
Yeah.
they might fuck you up even with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't just debilitate people.
No, if you have a taser you can use 20 times, that's not a good thing. I'd rather have a taser that you can use only once.
Right,
You know,
like a
because then
bomb.
the battery's drained afterwards. So you know
Exactly.
this thing is going to work.
Yeah, because batteries go dead on flashlights, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure they go dead on tasers too.
I mean,
People are running around with all this confidence.
A short, that's how you create freaking heat, right? So
Yeah, there's nothing substitutes a 9mm. That's if you want personal protection. You want a small, like a Sig P365.
the Hellcats are very nice. They got the Shield Smith & Wesson.
Oh yeah,
The Shield, they're very nice, but they only hold like 8, one in the barrel, and that's the extended mag. So
Oh, you're out here now. I got to get
Yeah,
you a Staccato. Staccato has a CS. It's a very small micro 9mm with I think it has 15 in the 15 in the magazine and 1 in the chamber.
yeah,
And it's so small. It just fits right in your hand.
I was doing this. I interviewed a guy. I had this thing on Planet Boss. It's called. It's on Muscle and Fitness. It's a show. So I interviewed a guy at the shooting range here, McQueen's Gun Club, and it's amazing. You walk in with the stilettos. They call them here stilettos. How you call those knives that jump out of the front and back?
Yeah, stilettos.
Stilettos. Yeah, they're completely legal here.
Yeah.
I go, you can sell them. I go, yeah, this is Texas, buddy. I go, oh man, I'm
Everything is legal.
Everything
here.
is legal. Yeah. It's
Literally
amazing.
everything. You can have concealed carry is just your constitutional right.
Yeah. Don't have to get
Amazing how friendly everyone is because of that. I'm not advocating for that. I'm not saying that's the good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's a thing.
Just listen, when other people have it,
People are
if
less
bad
likely to get
people-
crazy.
Yeah, also, but if bad people have them, I want to live in a gun-free society. Yeah, as long as they have them, I have them. It's very simple.
Yeah. Although there was a very sad story out here where someone was trying to break into his yard or something like that, or someone climbed his fence, and he went out in his own. I guess someone called the police or he called the police, and he went out into his own yard with an AR. And when the cops saw him, the cops shot him.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In his own fucking
backyard.
Yeah, very sad.
Yeah. Well, that's a lesson. Don't walk around with an AR in the middle of the night.
Well, when you see the cops, put that motherfucker down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what the circumstances were, obviously.
Yeah.
But
sad for the family.
yeah.
That's the first thing I think about.
Yes, always. So how is Karate Combat, man? I love it.
I've
been watching. I've been watching a lot. I saw James Vick fought in Karate Combat.
Yeah.
And a lot of glory guys fight in Karate Combat now.
James just wanted to invite me for hog hunting. I go,
Oh,
I'm in, dude. I'm in. I would love to do that. I just came back yesterday from Miami. It was a great show.
I got to get out to one of these.
You have
When
to.
is the next one?
June 24th.
Where at?
I think Miami. This one is Miami
June
or
20.
Orlando.
Give me an excuse to go back to Miami because I like Miami.
Man, if you would, because they've been asking for such a long time, it's
Maybe
great.
I'll take the misses.
And the if you go June 24th, I'm planning on to take my wife as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I want to take her more on trips now because all the time crazy times are over.
Yeah.
And now it's let's enjoy a little bit.
Don't you appreciate that now?
So much better.
Oh, you can just get on a plane, no mask, everybody's
Oh.
happy.
No, but also with my crazy freaking 15 years ago. I would come home at 8 o'clock in the morning, completely drunk, and at 9 o'clock I got a flight. Now I'm walking at the airport at 6 in the morning. I go, I'm feeling great.
Sober.
Sober.
Sober
Not
boss.
drinking. How crazy is that?
How long have you been sober for?
Oh, I do drink here and there, like a glass of wine or something. But for a while, I think for the last 5 years.
Yeah, I'm taking it down to that myself. I enjoy the marijuana and I enjoy some other stuff that's safe and effective. But I am pretty much done with heavy drinking. I had a friend recently that got off the rails drunk, and it was so sad to watch. He was so debilitated that I was like, I think I might be done.
Yeah.
It was awful. You see, just when you're sober and you see someone just shit faced, obliterated, can't form sentences.
Yeah.
Terrible for you.
No, it's horrible. It's horrible. That's why I don't go to the after parties anymore, which they had here with the last Karate Combat. So, yeah, coming back to that, these are just Wall Street guys who started this thing.
Karate Combat?
Karate Combat. They
Oh, they
wanted to
just-
start a boxing thing. His wife's brother, who doesn't even speak English, he said, we should start a boxing event or something, and then maybe we should get these Olympic-level karatekas and do a full contact show. And he goes, oh, let me Google. And they started Googling, and they realized there's nothing like it. That's literally how it started.
And then it's when they go to the ground, they can punch them on the ground for 10 seconds? Is that what it is? 5 seconds?
Yeah, George was with me, George St. Pierre. He's one of the hosts as well as the Wonder Boy, Leo de Machida, but he was advocating about 3 seconds. I go, why? 5 seconds is already a short time. I think you need he says, but 3, then they probably hit harder. I go, whatever his reasoning is, but, I don't know. But it's a great rule to have. That's first of all. We haven't seen a knockout yet. There's takedowns. You can use the pit. There's 45-degree angle walls. So you can literally walk up there and then drop a guy, which
Well,
we
you've had
already saw.
knockouts.
Oh, yeah, we had a lot of knockouts.
What do you mean by you haven't seen a knockout yet? You mean on the ground?
Ground and pound.
Oh, ground and pound. No
knockout.
ground and pound knockouts yet?
Not yet.
Interesting.
Well, we had Elijah Averill just came in. He's a point karate guy. And he was, I actually have some clips. he's the guy who trained with Raymond Daniels, and everybody was speaking about him. He's going to be great. Dude, yeah, you want to watch this fight. Here we go. Okay, so this is the first time. This is a karate guy on the right, Abdullah Ibrahim, and that's Joshua Quayhagen, and he thought he's going to...
Oh!
You see, karate guys.
Whoa, show that again. Show that again. These guys with their hands down like that.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
left hook.
Left hook.
Wow.
And then there is on this... there's another clip
They
there
have a
with the
Bitcoin logo in the center?
It was at the time, yes.
Oh, these are Wall Street guys.
This is a long time ago.
I love the banked edges, too. I really do like that. I don't like the cage. I feel like it just gets, I mean, even in MMA, I feel like it gets in the way of so much. Look at this. Boom. Oh, beautiful left hook. Over the shoulder. Didn't even see it coming.
You know, and the great thing is if you fall against the wall, you're not considered to be down. So you can do anything to your opponent. That is down once you're on the ground.
Yeah.
But on the wall, you're still okay. There's another clip with Elijah Averill. He was the guy, the point karate guy. Okay, watch this.
Which one is it?
Yeah, this is good. You can just hit play right there because that's at the... Watch what happens when you go slow.
Oh.
Yeah, you'll see this in slow motion. He wanted to kick him with that. You're going to see in slow mo the way
you can't kick once they touch the ground.
Yeah,
but you can punch.
You can still punch.
What do you think about that with MMA? Like pride rules versus.
Watch it kick in the face now. That's a different
boom,
thing.
as he's going down. Yeah. But so he's touching, so he's kind of almost down.
Yeah.
Like what?
And that is against the wall. He's allowed to do everything. This is not considered to be down if you're leaning against the wall.
Interesting. But you can, you're not down, but you can kick to the body when they're down. Can you kick to the body? Yeah.
Kick the body.
Stomp?
No, the head also. Not kicking the head, of course, yeah.
Right, but you can't kick the head when they're down.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Because, like, old school pride rules, there was something wild about, and then obviously ONE FC has sort of followed those style of rules in a cage, which is different because your head can get trapped in a cage and you can get stomped. Whereas in, old school pride, it was the ropes and guys would, they
try to slide
out of the
underneath
ropes. And
I don't know. Those stomps, once you saw Vanderlei Silva going to that, or Rona against Vanderlei Silva, against Sakuraba, they're holding the ropes for the balance.
Yeah.
And they start sucker kicking somebody's face in.
Yeah.
What I do like always is knees to the head on the ground. I'd rather have that than elbows. Elbows are most of the time cuts. These are knockouts.
Right.
So do you really want to lose because of a cut? In a street fight, you wouldn't, right? I mean, you wouldn't stop. So the losing by a cut, it's frowned upon for a fight. It's still a loss.
Well, there are some knockouts on the ground with elbows, for
more
sure.
and more now. We see them more. But before,
it was just cuts.
98%
right.
cuts.
Yeah. It's interesting because the turtle position, when someone shoots in a failed shot and they just hang out there and they're allowed, because a person can't knee them in the head, boy, that's a very vulnerable position. You would never stay there in a street fight.
No.
Never.
But you saw that the what see with Roger Huerta when he was in that.
Yes.
That was like, I thought somebody's going to get killed.
Yeah, that was a bad one. That was a bad one.
Horrible.
And that was also a guy much bigger than him, too. Like, Roger fought 155 in the UFC, and then he goes over, and in one, he's fighting these very big guys.
And he's already messed up. He's falling literally on the ground for his balance. And then he got soccer kicked full. Yes. That was scary.
Find that, because it was one of the worst KOs. And Roger, man, what an interesting story that is, and a kind of a sad story, because he was very, very promising. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
But that's the thing. That's the curse, right? They always talk about the Sports Illustrated curse, the cover.
Mike Tyson was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, too, though.
Forget about it. Check that.
Kid Dynamite. It's in my office at home when he was 19.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no.
That curse don't mean shit.
For him, it doesn't.
Yeah.
He's a special guy.
Yeah, but the Roger Huerta thing, what happened was he ran afoul. Some people were talking to him, or I don't know. Him and the UFC didn't get along all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because the UFC wanted to promote him. He's this good-looking guy. He's talented. He's tough as shit.
Yeah.
and then winds up losing, and then the UFC drops him because there was all sorts of conflict between the two of them, and he's like, I'm going to go fight other places, and then
He went over there, and we lost him,
well,
unfortunately.
you have these guys that are on this trajectory that if they, there's guys.
Limited time.
Yes. What do you have, like 9 years to perform at your very best?
Yeah. That's why I get, like guys
This is
like
the one I can really find of him on there.
Raymond
Just a
Daniels is
crazy
still.
fight.
I think I don't know if this is it.
It doesn't seem to be a KO or anything.
Oh, no?
It's just a crazy fight between them.
No, this is not Koji Ando. It was a Brazilian guy.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
Rochester.
you already.
He's taken a lot of punishment in this
Yeah,
career.
you can already see that going. But you see the guys who are older guys still performing really well. I think Raymond Daniels right now, who's
Oh,
fighting
yeah.
for Karate Combat. He's still freaking. And by the
Amazing.
way, he fought. So he's over 40. He fought Rafael Agaev, who's considered the GOAT of karate, right? 5 world titles, 11 European titles. This guy's a freaking master. Everybody, when you would have to bet, you forced to bet, you put your house on freaking Raymond Daniels. Agaev beat him.
Really?
Yeah,
By decision?
5-round fight, decision. So his reflex and everybody, and the president, Adam Kovac, he told me before, he says, Agaev is going to win. And I go, oh, man, that's a big, he says he's going to win. Because now also after the fight, they say, oh, we have the blueprint. He says, no, because nobody's like Agaev. His reflexes, I mean, every time you saw Daniels move, he was already in there. But now, in Daniels' mind, because this guy, he's got to download everything that went wrong.
Yes.
And then you see him fight the next fight. He's a scary guy as well, the stuff that he does, right?
Daniels is amazing. His ability to incorporate that point style karate and also into kickboxing. He had a lot of courage. Like going into Glory, when he fought those guys, he really wasn't accustomed to leg kicks. And Joseph Valtellini beat him, and that's how he beat him. Just chop those legs, and eventually head
Holtzke.
kicked him.
Yeah, but the 720 punch. Did you ever see that
Oh
thing?
my God, it was insane.
What the heck? And then he decided, because actually George Palmer, the commentator, my commentating partner in Karate Combat, he asked him about it. He says, "What? Were you first about to throw a kick?" And he says, "Actually, I was. But then once he was in the air, the distance got close too fast. He knew he had to change it, and then in the air he was going, oh, did I leave the stove on? We're gonna, I'm actually right. and then he made it into a freaking right hook.
Yeah, that is one of. Oh, here's the
This
right
is scary.
one. This one's terrible. Boom.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Watch this. He's already out.
Yeah, he's already out and turtled up, and that guy plants it and on the neck. I mean, that is one of the worst KOs ever. And the amount of power that you can generate from that short a distance. I mean, he was already fucked up. If you back it up a little bit, Jamie, you can see.
Just have this.
Oh, that's all it is?
The best I can find.
Yeah, I mean, he was already fucked up. And again, undersized, much smaller than this guy. And then the neck kick. Yeah, horrible.
Yeah, not good. But thankfully we don't have that in Karate Combat. Well, you see X kicks those to the body.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, George used to use those to the body. George St. Pierre?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
a great technique to the body for a downed opponent. I mean, that heel slamming down like that.
Can you imagine? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I was talking to George yesterday about pointing, right? I like it when you have gloves and you can point. I would fight, point, and a low kick. And every time when you do that, you're painting a picture for your opponent, right? So he's attaching you pointing to the low kick and actually you throwing a low kick. And then once he gets used to that, of course, you break that pair and you're
Right.
pointing high and you're going high. And I said the master who did that was Dwayne Ludwig. It was in a fight, and the guy is on the ground, and Dwayne walks up to him and he points straight at his head. So the guy puts his guard up, one shot to the solar plexus. Fight was over. You see, stuff like that, I really enjoy when people do it like that. That's Ross Levine. You know that he's the middleweight champion from Karate Combat. He's also with Bang Muay Thai. You see that guy fight? Every
Yeah,
organization
see, I've
is
only
gonna go,
watched clips online. I've never watched a full event.
freaking 100% in control. Whatever happens, it's once I
Pull up a video of him.
yeah go
Ross Levine?
Ross Levine, Karate Combat 39 is the main event. Just go to the second round because the first, and he's fighting a really freaking tough guy who's from the Olympic team karate in his country, Igor de Castañeda. He just makes him look like a zero chance.
Here we go.
Okay, Ross is in the black. Look at his distance the whole time. Feinting. So underused in fighting.
Mm.
The way he stalks him, sees everything.
Now, why do they have to wear pants? Is that just because
That's
it's karate?
just for the karate.
Then
yeah.
why don't they wear tops?
You should ask them.
It seems like you should be able to wear shorts. It's like anything that would impede the movement of your legs. And I'm not saying that pants do. They don't that much. But it's a little bit.
No, but the gi does. You know, we saw this also with Hoist Gracie Sakuraba, right? He started pulling it over. So the gi is always a nightmare. So get rid of the gi, keep the belt. Long pants are okay as long as they're a little stretchy.
Well, it's kind of cool because it shows you that it's karate. But, you know, if I would prefer shorts because I feel like shorts I can move my legs better.
Yeah.
I mean, not much difference. Obviously, karate tournaments, taekwondo tournaments are all fought with the gi on. Even, actually, sambo, they go with shorts. In some events, at least. Oh, shit.
But you see the control he has.
Yeah.
Everything he got. Everything is caught. And the way it's like the first time he knocked him out, the guy falls back, makes a spinning Ushiro Mawashi Yodan gear to the head.
Now, this is karate, but it's constant contact. It's constant action. Whereas it's not point. So where do these guys come from? Do they come from point backgrounds, kickboxing backgrounds?
A lot of these guys came from the point background, and you see them, the evolution. I mean, in the beginning, they would literally throw one punch, they scream, and they stop while the opponent kept going. They go, oh, shoot. Yeah, I got to keep going, and they make combinations. So
you have to go up the
them.
ramp to sit in your corner, too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's enough for sissies.
Interesting.
But
so does Ross Levine, does he come from a point background?
He's a point background karate guy, but he went also to Glory. He went to other organizations. He's just an incredible fighter. And now he's coming full circle back to karate. And he became the champion right away. He took the old champion's belt. I mean, it wasn't even a contest.
So that guy in that situation, he knew that he couldn't get kicked to the head, so you can kind of sit there. What is he complaining about?
I have no clue, but it's not good. But just go to the very end. You'll see him, the way he drops everything.
What do you think's behind Castaneda coming forward to just try and tie up here?
Yeah, like right there. Like, what is that?
Well, why would you stop, right? It's like...
Yeah, well, I think he's kind of already on his way out, right? So, look, he just slid down there instead of standing up.
Now it's at least a downed opponent. But
so now he has to wait for 5 seconds, right? Is that the strategy?
Well, you could.
But he's just getting beat up, right?
Yeah, this is... but look how... Look at this.
Oh! So you can do that. You can kick to the face there because the guy's not totally down. He's just leaning against the thing.
Anything goes against the wall.
Interesting.
And what a choice to make for him. So, and he, the Castaneda, he was complaining about this. He said he wasn't out. So they had a rematch.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, boy. And then he got annihilated.
It's unfortunate that some of these guys who are mentally tough, they're great fighters, but they just have this one place that if you can take them to there, they'll crack.
Yeah, Beard, right?
Yeah. Yes. Like tough guys, but if you take them there, they fall apart.
Yeah, but you go like, okay, with me, it was submissions. And I go, you know what? Maybe I should learn this thing. And I start focusing 2-3 times a day only on that.
Yes.
And that's how you get rid of it, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's just simply working on it.
Yes, but there's a lot of catch up to do. And there was always an issue in the early days of the UFC where those guys were elite strikers, they just didn't want to roll. Because when they rolled, they would get dominated. But when they strike with people, they would dominate them.
Yeah, it is stupid.
Yeah, it's just an ego
Do
thing.
what you don't like.
Yeah.
Because that's most of the time. First of all, you don't like it because you don't understand it. That's what I say to people.
Sure.
But once you understand it, you're going to love it. Like the submissions with me, once I got it, I go like, oh, this is way worse than boxing. We thought the tough guys were boxers and kickboxers.
Yeah.
That's not true.
No.
You can dislocate, break any joint, bone in the human body. That's a big power to have. For any guy can do that who's doing after a blue belt, so to say.
Well, it's just, boxing has amazing knockouts, but it's just... When a guy can control you on the ground and dominate you on the ground, you don't have the same ability to defend yourself. You don't have the same options. There's just so much going on.
Yeah.
It's like, boxing is great to watch. But did you watch the Lomachenko Devin
I didn't.
Haney
We were
fight?
busy. He got robbed.
He got robbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he got robbed. I mean, the commentators were trying very hard not to say he got robbed.
Yeah.
They were dancing around, close rounds and this and that, but I I didn't see it at all.
Yeah.
I felt like Lomachenko won that decision. I'd like to go back and watch again, like with silence, and just sort of try to, no commentary, just try to like really score each round. But to me, I felt like it was 2 rounds up for Lomachenko.
Yeah. That's bad, for guys like that.
It happens all the time in boxing. It happens but it happens in the UFC too.
Yeah, but boxing, it's worse there, right?
It is sometimes, but when Marlon Vera fought Corey Sandhagen, one of the judges gave the fight to Marlon Vera, and it makes 0 sense. I've watched that over and over again to try, because Corey Sandhagen's performance is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, he's an animal.
It's top level.
And Vera is very freaking tough.
Vera is an animal.
Yeah.
He's a fucking animal. He's so good. They're the elite of the elite in that division. Both top 5 guys. But Corey just chopping away at him, doing whatever he wants, man.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah. Guys like that, man. That's why we have guys like Israel Adesanya. The way for him to lose and then to come back, you see, I think that's more powerful than any other person out there. You can be undefeated. It's nice, Daddy, but, show people you're human. And coming back from that, and then that was rope-a-doping, right? I mean, and my buddy right away sits next to me, goes, he's rope-a-doping. He's cage doping, whatever you want to call it, fancy doping. But he was still looking just for the right moment.
Oh, it was amazing.
Amazing.
Well, he had gotten very close to stopping him in one of the kickboxing fights and then dropped him with seconds to go, like 1 second to go in the first round of their MMA fight. So he kind of knew he could get to him.
Yeah.
But it's that motherfucker so big.
Dude, he was standing next to me. He came to Karate Combat. He's like 235 pounds.
He's huge.
This is crazy. All these guys.
Yeah.
I'm next to Jones. I mean, freaking Tito. Everybody's giant. It's crazy.
I know.
It's all length. Ian Gary.
Oh,
I mean, you're standing next to him. We just hang out.
tall.
Dude, that's a fun guy to watch, right?
Oh my God,
Yeah.
undefeated, so confident and so intelligent, and and beating Daniel Rodriguez like that in his last fight and being the first guy to stop Rodriguez. I mean, that's a big deal.
Look at that kick. Yeah,
he's got it, man. He's got it. Whatever it is, he's got it, and he's on his way up.
That's the thing, the it thing. What is the it thing, right? Because
So
how many
many
fighters do you see? They constantly go for the belt, but they never really get the belt. And it's so weird. You go like, man, he should be a champ. But somehow, he's not.
Well, there's guys that are so close. They're so close, and they beat top guys, but they never get whatever it is.
Yeah.
Michael Johnson, who just got knocked out this past weekend. I mean, he knocked out Dustin Poirier, KO'd him, one left hand. He's the elite of the elite, and just at a certain point, and he's been KO'd real bad. Josh Emmett KO'd him really bad, and then this past weekend gets KO'd really bad again. So
It's a shame. And everybody's focus is on that. And I go like, you shouldn't, keep. I remember there was a time that I was 11 fights undefeated, and somebody told me, he says, "Whoa, man, you're 11-0 right now. You lost 11." I go, "Oh crap!" He goes, "What?" I go, "I wish you wouldn't have said that." Because I was afraid it was going to go inside my head, and I get, I want to make it 12, and then you start fighting not to lose. You start don't taking risks anymore. Thankfully, I forgot about it. But, can you imagine? You become like this very tentative guy.
Yeah, it happens to people.
A lot of people.
They change up their style, and they become more technical or more boring or more safe or whatever you want to call it. But they do, and they think about it.
We had Mike Perry in the audience. Andrei Arlovsky was there also for the Karate Combat thing. Mike Perry, that's one of those guys. If you're a promoter, grab that guy.
Oh my God!
Great on the microphone, great interviews. He's either going to get knocked out or he's going to knock somebody out. He roll the dice. He's the perfect guy for any organization.
Well, what he's doing now in bare knuckle fighting is amazing.
Yeah,
knocking out Luke Perry like that, stopping him. Beating up Michael Venom Page. Who saw that coming?
Yeah,
he's just so fucking tough that there's something about the pain that comes with bare knuckle that just suits him.
It's a mental thing.
100%.
I think also we were talking about, Louis Rocha actually was talking about this, the lightweight guy from Karate Combat. He said, I'm going to win this fight because I was been in a lot of street fights. I have a different mentality than his opponent Bruno Souza had. He has a nice upbringing. He's a great fighter, but he doesn't have that little meanness in him at the moment when you need it. To control aggression like Bruce Lee would talk about. I think that's a big thing as well.
It's certainly a big thing. Skill is everything, right? But then the mental aspect of it sometimes trumps skill. If you could overcome those moments where the opponent is beating you,
Yeah.
if you could just find your openings and then put it on them. Some people are great when they're the hammer and not so great when they're the nail.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking with George as well. It's with bringing your fans. First time my mom and dad are here watching me fight, I go, I don't know if that's a good thing. Could be really good.
Children
Could be
is what
really
gets me.
Oh, the worst.
Yeah, children, when you see people bring their children, I'm like, oh, you have so much
Yeah.
to think about. There's so much more now that you have to think about.
I wouldn't let my kids watch. They could watch the replay, but they can't watch it live.
Yeah.
Because what if something goes wrong?
Right.
You know, and
right.
that's my daddy going down there. It's just not a good thing.
No, and it's also there's one more variable that you have to keep in your mind while you're competing. I mean, some people can do it great. Some people can fight great with their kids in the audience. And more power to them. But for some people, you watch them with the kid in the audience and they lose and they get KO'd. You see the kid crying like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
why would you subject
Scar
your
'em.
children to that? It's just it's so hard.
If you've just been training for 3 years full to become an MMA champion, that is gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Did you see the Mackenzie Dern fight this weekend?
No, I heard.
Oh my God.
She's unbelievable, right?
Oh my God. It was incredible. It was
Yeah.
a breakthrough performance. Like, she's always been elite in the strawweight division, but to do that to Angela Hill, who is, by the way, Angela Hill is so fucking tough.
Great
The
striker.
beating that she took in this fight, never quit. Came very close to getting arm bars, and she just would not fucking give that arm up, and she's getting hammer fisted in the face. And
Yeah.
whoo.
Yeah. Yeah,
She's
animal.
Angela Hill's so fucking tough, but Mackenzie Dern, my God,
You
that
never expect it to.
control.
If you see her in an interview, you go, like,
Yeah,
she's a sweet lady.
but her daughter was there for the first time, and her daughter's
Oh.
very young, and her daughter saw her face. Her daughter's crying. I mean, she won. She dominated.
Yeah, but
The daughter was like, "Whoa!" Like,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard in those little kids.
yeah, don't bring family. My wife, I wouldn't bring because she would throw in the towel if she sees a little tiny cut. She'll throw in the towel. I brought her to. Okay, she take this out. So I'm going to Japan. I had to fight twice in 1 month, right? As I tell her, I said, "Why don't you come with me? I can stay there. Finally, got some trading partners in Japan that I can roll around with a little bit." So the first fight goes against Suzuki. Peter Earth was there because he was just fighting also for the K1. And he came to watch. And I was the first guy to stop Suzuki at the time. But I remember when I kneed him and I hit him and he goes down on the ground. I'm standing in my corner, it's an 8 count, and my wife is walking away. And I go, where is she going? And they go, fight again. And then later on I go, what were you doing? She says, I didn't like it because I thought you were going to hurt him a little bit because I'm there. You know, you're going to do your extra very best to hurt the guy more. I go, no. Why the hell would you leave? I'm standing there and I just see her walking away.
Oh,
I go, what the hell is going on there?
She thought you were going to hurt him more because she was there. That's interesting.
And then, by the way, this is also funny. We're doing the laundry. She's hanging laundry on the balcony. It is in Japan, in Tokyo. And suddenly it goes, oh, my God, somebody jumped on the building. And I'm laughing, and I think it's a joke. And she goes, no, really. So I'm looking, and there's this guy on the floor, like a really bad position. You know that he committed suicide. He just jumped. And then you see people coming by. They just kick him. They keep walking. And then suddenly there's this little ambulance thing comes. They grab him up, put him away. But it was the wildest thing.
So she saw him jump?
She saw him falling down. Boom. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a wild way to go.
Yeah. They say that the moment they jump, they know it's a mistake. That one guy who jumped off the bridge in New York.
San Francisco.
San Francisco,
Golden
and he
Gate.
survived.
Yeah.
The freaking the flipper brought him back up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. He said you regret it the moment you step off, and
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, of course. You know you're gonna die.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a friend who did that in San Francisco.
And he died.
He died.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. He struggled with depression for a long time, and then someone sent me a message that Tony killed himself. I was like, oh no. And I was like, how did he do it? And they're like, he jumped off the bridge. I was like, oh.
Yeah, because that's at least 15 seconds. Oh. Because it's a whole long bridge.
That's a big fucking drop. And you don't die instantly, I don't think, either. Maybe you do.
I see these commercials on TV with people that are depressed. In the early days, I would be, come on, man, just think happy thoughts. That's what I'm the idiot who thought that. And then after my last fight, I had like a 2.5 month period of depression. Most scariest thing I've
Which
ever
fight?
had.
Which fight was it?
That was after 2006, the last fight I made. Like after 7 years, I didn't fight against Ruben Valerio, the big Indian guy.
That fight, you had depression after that fight?
After that, I think maybe because it was literally God letting me know, okay, the fight is over now. Because I was so injured, and I thought I was okay, but I was so injured I couldn't continue fighting anymore. And I don't know.
Were you injured going into the fight?
Oh yeah, everything. Hamstring, my rib was out. It was not good. But thankfully I got him. But then afterwards, I think that maybe got in my head that that this was it. And I was literally on the freeway thinking, what if I drive my car against it? And I go, what? What am I thinking? I go. And then I decided to make a list with all the good things in my life and all the bad things. And then you're going to realize that the bad thing list is 2 things. 3.
Oh, yeah.
And the rest is like goes on, the good things. And I started focusing on it. I don't understand. A lot of people, it's harder for them, and they are going to need medication. I tried medication and, like I was freaking out. I literally was thinking, if I wouldn't have had a family, I might have done it. It was that crazy.
Did you get hit in that fight bad?
No.
No? So did you get hit at all in training that was bad?
Nope. No, not. I never had an 8 count, not even in fighting. So I've been very blessed.
Yeah, so do you think it was just psychological? Because that is a thing that happens to guys with CTE. Guys that have had a lot of hits to the head, they start getting very depressed because their serotonin levels are all fucked up, their endocrine system's all fucked up, their pituitary gland gets damaged. And they say it gets damaged even when you don't even get knocked out. Just little jabs to the face.
Oh, I've been training with Pedro Hizo.
Yeah.
That's a fun guy to spar with.
Oh, my God.
He got me on a body shot one time, and I was looking at the clock, making sure that he could not see that I was looking at the clock.
Yeah.
But he had me on a liver shot. I go, and then I start throwing on purpose a lot of crosses because somebody who's hurt would never do that, right? So I was trying to convince him, and thankfully he thought I wasn't hurt. And then the bell went. I go, dude! I looked at him. I'm so happy you didn't touch me there, like this, and I would have gone down.
The liver is awful.
It's the worst.
Oh my God! When people were saying when Ryan Garcia went down against Tank Davis, and people were saying he quit, I'm like, okay, have you ever been hit there before?
Oh,
yeah. It's
everything just fucking freezes up. Where does my love for the liver shot come from?
Yes.
First Thai boxing class, getting dropped by a liver shot.
First class, really?
First class. I'm the Thai tough boxer, karateka, but my hands are here. So as soon as they added punches to the face, you overcommit. You go too fast, so you're exposing your body. And I was training with Osman, was his name. It was a Class A fighter already, pro. And he figured me out really fast. And he dropped me with a liver shot. And I remember asking him, I go, what is this?
It's terrible.
I went home. I spent 3.5 hours in front of a mirror. 3.5 hours. My wife said, you're insane. I would drink a little coffee, relax, go back to the mirror. Only this. I was not going to drop my hands anymore. And the next day I went back to the class, and I just cleaned 85% of the gym out. And they go like, they thought I played a joke on them. I go, no, I spent 3.5 hours in front of the freaking mirror. That was not going to happen again. I was a little obsessive compulsive there.
That's the champion mindset.
That's the only way to do it.
Yeah, you need that. You can't have a bunch of other options of things you can do. You have to be 100% all in, fully obsessed.
I'm thinking about a funny story when I lived in that building. I used to live across the gym, and I had a mixed martial art. I had a Thai boxing match the next day, and my neighbors, there was a stairs going up. Left are the apartments and right. I was on the right side, they were on the left side. So they have a mirror image apartment. So I know everything. What we have, it's a mirror image there. And they were banging the music really loud. And it was 10 o'clock, and I go, I'll let it go till 11 o'clock, 11:30. Okay, I'm going to go down and ask them. So I asked them really nice if they could please stop it because I have to do something tomorrow. I didn't want to mention anything because they could only trigger something. And they said, sure. Close the door, turn the music up. I call the cops, and I tell the cops, I say, listen, this is 86A. My name is Bas Rutte. You can tell them that I called you, so use my name. but please, this has got to stop because now it's like midnight 15. You know, and I need to sleep. So the police comes, but you have also a little balcony. And it's hilarious because the police comes, music is down. I'm standing on the balcony looking at them. They were on one floor behind me. And while the police leaves, they go, "They're gone, turn it up." They're screaming inside, and they start blasting the music again. I go, okay. So I put on a cap, you know, that I looked a little different, put on a jacket, and I walked down, and the guy opened up. I go, "Ah, what's up, party time?" And he goes, "Hey, come in. And I walk in, close the door, right behind the door is where the fuse box are. And in Holland, it's different. In Holland, they're like ceramic diffusers, like big. They look like spark plugs.
Just twist them in.
Yeah. And I opened the thing, and I just crushed. I stomped the whole thing, and like holding the side of the door. I go, "Bam, bam!" The whole place goes down, and they came running in the building. I go, "I warned you guys." And everybody, but nobody came close. They saw in my eyes. So the reason I didn't want to go there in the first place because I couldn't. My adrenaline. Well, I couldn't sleep the whole freaking night because my adrenaline was so rocketing now after that whole experience. Thankfully, I beat him. But but that was the day before the fight.
Oh my God!
The day before the fight, yeah.
When you had the day before a fight, was there anything specifically you would do to try to relax or try to calm yourself or get ready?
No, I always been a big thing, and then later on when I started understanding breathing better, you know, like the vagus nerve to stimulate that one. On knowing I was doing that, like I would be. This was with nerves. I use it with a low tone. I go, and I let my belly vibrate. Now, at the time, I didn't know what I was doing. Short inhales with longer exhales, actually stimulating the vagus nerve. You know, and other ways to stimulate the vagus nerve are also by humming and singing. So I connected two of them somehow, but it made me very calm. If I had with a headache, I do it the same thing, but I go higher pitch sound because then my skull vibrates. You see it then, and that always helps me with headache or if I'm nervous with my body. So yeah, that's what I would do. I would just relax and have fun. Video games, you know, only comedy. Nobody can say anything bad. In the dressing room, we can't have aggression. Everybody needs to go right away. Get the guy's ass. I remember my last fight, and my nutrition was there, and he wanted to hype me up. So he says, "Can I talk to you outside?" It was just before, like an hour before the fight. He goes, "Listen, man. This guy tries to take food away from your family." Guy, stop right there. I don't need this talk. He goes, "Seriously?" No. Because if I get angry, that's you don't want to get angry.
Right.
You know, you want to be in control. So he says,
it's interesting because some people do need that.
Yeah, they need to get slapped in the face.
Yeah.
No, far away from that. My opponent's already going to try that. Why would I do that? Right?
Yeah.
Did you see how I say try that?
Yes.
I didn't say do that. Try
right,
that.
Of course.
Slip that in there.
It is interesting, the different psychology. Like, if you're a coach, you kind of need to be a psychologist because you're dealing with all these different people, different ways. Like, some people, they have amazing potential, but they're just not that disciplined.
Yep.
Some people, you got to keep them out of the gym because they're training too hard. They're going to overtrain.
Yep. Yeah, and I always found out that it's the one in the middle. It literally is. I think the guys with too much talent, they don't have the stamina to back it up because they're always schooling everybody in the gym, and nobody gives them pressure.
Right.
You know, and then of course, but if you have the guys like the guys who are not really physically blessed, but still become a freaking champ, like Tim Sylvia.
Yes.
I mean, if you see him walk, his toes are inside a little bit. The motoric skills are not great.
Yeah, pigeon-toed.
Freaking world champion.
Yep.
And those guys are way harder to beat than a guy it's easy for them. Because instead of, if I have to work for something 2 hours and they have to work 6 hours for the same thing to get to that point, they don't want to let that go. Those guys are the worst guys to fight. They're the toughest. So it always comes with something. And that's why I figured out in the middle, I know I have talent, but I'm not like a BJ Penn kind of talent.
Right.
You know, that is like exceptional. 3 years black belt, and then backing it up by beating
3
winning
years
the world champion.
wins the Mundial,
But that's
which
what
is
I-
insane.
Yeah.
Imagine you meet a guy, you're like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going to go take my first jiu-jitsu class. Oh, good luck with that. Then you meet him 3 years later. What are you doing? Oh, I just won the world championships.
Yeah,
In what?
In the black belt
In
division.
what? In jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
In what rank?
Yeah.
Black belt. What?
That's insane.
Nobody even gets a black belt in 3 years.
Freaking prodigy.
I was a brown belt for 8 fucking years.
Yeah.
BJ Penn was a special guy, man.
Yes.
When people talk about GOATs, I feel unfortunately they leave him out of the equation.
Oh,
But if you look at BJ in his prime, when he beat Sean Shirk, when he beat Diego Sanchez, in his prime, when he was just smashing people, Joe Stevenson,
yeah.
BJ Penn was a motherfucker.
Oh,
I put that BJ Penn against any 155-pounder that's ever lived.
Yep. And the striking, it picked up so
Oh, my God.
fast. Gomi.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Oh my God, Din Thomas.
Animal.
He knocked out a lot of fucking people, and his jiu-jitsu was off the charts.
Yeah, yeah.
Off the charts. BJ Penn was so fucking talented, but during that period when he was the GOAT, what happened was he got with Marv Marinovich, and he started training insane cardio. The Marinoviches had him training cardio more than anything else.
Yeah.
It was all plyometrics. It was all these facts. So they're like, you already know how to fight.
Yeah.
Like, the problem is endurance. Let's
Yep.
give you the most insane gas tank, and then you go out there with so much confidence because you never have to worry about keeping your foot off the gas.
Yeah. But what happened? This sounded to me like you were setting up.
No,
That's
I mean,
when it started
that's when he won. That's what I mean.
Oh,
Well, he
okay,
always
good.
won, but that's when he became BJ Penn,
BJ
the
Penn.
motherfucker.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I feel like if like you could get time machines together, I would take Khabib when he beat Conor McGregor and face BJ Penn when BJ Penn fought Sean Shirk, or
Yeah,
BJ Penn fought Joe Stevenson, or BJ Penn fought Diego Sanchez. Like that BJ Penn versus that Khabib. Holy shit. Holy shit. With that fight gives me goosebumps just imagining it.
Yeah. Freaking elbows. The
Ooh.
split he left open on Joe Stevens' head.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there was blood everywhere. Remember,
Oh,
there was in
my
a
God.
puddle.
Plus, when you got him on the ground, like that
Yeah,
ain't no
yeah.
picnic.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. BJ Penn was fucking amazing
Everybody
on the ground.
says, it feels like he's 250 pounds when you roll with him.
Well, his
Yeah.
legs move like arms.
Yeah.
He has the most insane flexibility and dexterity. Yeah, this is BJ in his prime. Oh my God! Boom,
Boom, Sean Sharp.
flying
Why
knee
not?
KO.
Look at that.
Dude, BJ Penn, when he was the GOAT, when he was on top, dude, he was fucking unstoppable.
He was so angry too. It was the best.
Yeah. When, are they like letting? What is Mario Yamasaki letting that fight go? Oh, it was the end of the round. That's what it was. Boom, uppercut, left hook. Check the timing on this knee. Step, boom, and he's got those Ruka shorts with the black belt on it. Damn. Oh my God. And Sean Shirk was a fucking pit bull. Oh my God, Sean Shirk.
He was on top for a long time.
Yeah. Oh my God, and he had incredible fitness.
Yeah.
I mean, Sean Shirk was he was like one of the first guys that had like unbelievable strength and conditioning routines. And this is early days of the UFC's popularity, so it's like people missed that. And I feel like Anderson Silva's another one. When Anderson was in his prime, Jesus Christ. When Anderson knocked out Vitor with that front kick to the face.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Ooh, when Anderson knocked out Okami. When Anderson
Knocked out everybody.
Knocked out everybody.
Forrest Griffin. The way.
Oh my God.
That was even.
Yeah.
Dunk,
Yeah.
dunk.
There's a bunch of those guys that unfortunately they get left out of the conversation because people see them when they should have quit. They should have stopped fighting.
Yeah.
That's the case with BJ. That's the case with Anderson.
Yeah.
People see them when they should have walked away and they just one more time, or maybe they're getting a big contract. Maybe with the UFC's got them. They fight and they can make $500,000, $750,000, $1 million, and so
But we all think about that short little. I'm very blessed because I got a lot of injuries, And that's why I stopped, because everybody tells me, man, you were smart. You stopped at the end of at the peak of your career. I said, that was not me, because I would have been a knucklehead who kept on fighting. And eventually you are going to lose, because you're going to fight guys who half your age. You know, they can work out 5 times a day, 5 times a week, full power. You can't.
Yeah.
You know, you have to really make sure that when you do your high outputs, because otherwise you're not going to make it. So thankfully I got injuries, and that's what kept my
Well, you
my
had
record
injuries
nice.
before you won the heavyweight title.
yeah,
you had
yeah.
a bad neck injury when you fought TK.
Oh yeah,
When you fought Toyoshi Kosaka, your neck was so fucked up you could barely roll.
it was really bad. Yeah, it was Del Golar. He threw me on my head. I had him in a triangle choke. That freaking guy, man. He was
So
really good, powerful. Yeah,
Ooh, Daryl Golar was a fucking beast.
slams me
Oh,
on the
my
ground in
God.
the corner. You
Oh,
know,
no.
so my neck is completely jacked up. Yeah.
And that's the same injury that got aggravated when you did, what was it, Sons of Anarchy, when you were doing that movie or the TV show?
Mm.
What was it that you did that wound up where you had to get the neck
Oh,
fused?
that was Lights Out.
Lights Out.
Yeah, the TV show. There was this moment that the lead actor, I'm going to beat him, and he says, "This is it's not realistic. This is a boss. You know, he should come up with something. I do something illegal, whatever. There's other ways. There's no way I can beat this guy." And I said, "What about this? I jump on your back. You know, I forget to put the hooks in, and I slide off. I spike myself. So this is all
Oh
on
my
me.
God, it's your idea.
Yeah." And then I'm dizzy. You hit me in the throat, whatever. And then you want to do that? I go, sure. You know, you're invincible at that moment. You know, you think. And I did it twice, and it was just this height that I just dropped. But I remember, like 2 months later, looking in the mirror and looking at my wife and go, "Is my arm getting smaller? This is weird." And I wasn't using it because I had a lot of pain in the shoulder. And then I had to do an autograph session in Boston for the UFC, actually. They flew me out, and I went to the doctor. I said, "I got to put a cortisone shot in there. There's no way I can do this weekend, you know." And they put the cortisone shot in there, and so I now could use it, because before I didn't use it because it was hurting, and I couldn't lift my carry-on luggage. Freaked me out. I go like, "Whoa, what?" So my other hand, I lift. I go, "Okay, so it's my arm. Something's going on." I thought I lost all power, and that's when I realized it was my freaking neck. you know.
How is it coming back now? Is it?
Nothing. It's supporting muscles that doing it. You know, if I wrap this up, you'll see. You see, it's all gone here. See?
Oh,
It's all
wow.
atrophied, yeah.
That's crazy.
But it was, my whole arm was like this. It was a stick. So I got this, biceps is coming very slowly. It's coming down. But literally, I started with 2 pounds. I could pull the trigger from a gun.
Really?
Yeah. So listen, I used to do 9-1 on pull-ups. Like people, I would do this in the subway with the other fighters. Hey, show the pull-ups again. Not stretched arm, but from here, I could like 9-1 on pull-ups. And going from that, not able to grab the freaking water out of the fridge, that was scary. That was very scary. And then I went from 2-pound curls, and I'm doing 15 now. And they say, "Oh, that's great." Yeah, over 12 years. So
you went from 2-pound curls to 15-pound curls.
yeah, but like I said, it's over 12 years. Like I do 45s, I have in my left, and then the little ones.
I know you went to Ways to Well, and they gave you some stem cells, and
Yes.
you've done some stem cells. Where did you go before that? Did you go to Panama?
I did Panama before, all the way back. It didn't work anything for my neck injury because apparently there's a nerve blocked, and it can't unblock a nerve. You know, it's can only do so much.
Is it's blocked because of the fused discs? or
They have no
something?
clue. Nobody can find out where it actually is located. It's because it's like it's been such a long time that they simply cannot locate. They tried everything with electricity and holding, and it's stupid. Somehow they cannot figure it out. So I felt really good after Panama, like physically. It dropped my cholesterol levels. It was bizarre. I went from 220 because coincidentally I just took like a blood test 2 weeks before I went to there, and when I came back, did another blood test. It dropped 70 points, 70 points in like 10 days, and it was because of the stem cells. It was the one say it was like 150. I go, what? It was 220. It was really bizarre, and I felt really energized. I remember the person who told me to go there. It was through Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson.
And his sister was talking about, she said, "I feel energy coming out of my fingertips." I go, that's a weird thing to say. But then after my third session, because you have 4 sessions in 4 days, I call my wife and go, I know exactly what she's talking about. It's like every morning I will wake up boop, 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 out of my toes and out of my fingers for 6 months straight. Really weird, but felt really good.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never done the Panama. I've done Ways to Well, and I did it in Santa Monica. At a few different places I've done stem cells. But it's healed injuries big time. I had a full-length rotator cuff tear. And when I went in Vegas, Dr. Roddy McGee shot me up with mesenchymal stem cells. And I went to a doctor. The UFC gave me a doctor in Los Angeles. And he looks at my MRI, and he goes, "You're going to need surgery." And I go, 100%? He's like, "Yeah." I mean, he goes, "I don't know how you're using it now."
Yeah.
And so he goes, "Well, let me put you through some paces. Let me see." He goes, "Resist this." And I just resisted it. And he goes like, "Huh." He's like, "Resist that." And I resisted that. He's like, "Oh." He's like, "Okay, it's pretty strong." He goes, "Well, it's a matter of time. Just, you're gonna need surgery, so, it might be better to do it now, even though it hurts. You've got good muscle supporting it, and so that's the only reason why it's okay." So I got it shot up with stem cells. 6 months later, I go and get an MRI. The rotator cuff tear is gone.
Whoa.
Full-length rotator cuff tear. And Dr. McGee looks at me and goes, "You know how fucking insane this is?"
Yeah.
He goes, "This is insane."
Yeah.
And this was like the early days of stem cells in America where you could kind of get away with more. They were doing some wild shit that you got to go to Mexico now and get. Like Tijuana, the Cellular Performance Institute, CPI down there that my friend Ed Clay and Eddie Bravo's been down there. A lot of UFC fighters have been down there.
They go the
It's
extra
incredible.
step.
Yeah, they fucking dose you. They hit you with a lot of it, and everybody I know that's gone down to that place is
I went to Waste to
phenomenal.
Well for IV, right, already, and I had to say the next day I called him. I got my muscle aches are way less.
Yeah.
That was just after one day.
Well, there's a definite reduction in inflammation that comes with that. But there's a lot of things you could do to reduce inflammation, but the healing thing is just incredible. And I really wish. I mean, the problem is in this country, without just blaming people, there's too much regulation when it regard to that kind of stuff, and it's not because there's a lot of evidence that people get injured by stem cells. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on them because there's a lot of drugs that people take when they're injured, and there's a tremendous industry in those drugs. Tremendous industry in anti-inflammatories, there's tremendous industry in the pain pills, and a lot of that would be hit hard if stem cells were openly not just like allowed, but allowed the way they're allowing them in other countries.
It's everything, and they don't want that. They don't want to fix you.
It's fucked. It's really
It really is.
I mean, if they could make it so that you have to take a pill once a month, and that pill is worth a lot of money, and they can profit off of it, they'd be like all in.
Yep.
But this I am just a giant fan of stem cells, and I'm a giant fan of peptides.
Yeah, me too. Always did peptides.
Makes a giant
trigger
difference.
your own body to make more.
Yes.
It's the best.
It is.
It's always better than a foreign substance in you.
Yes, and it's incredible what they can do now.
Yeah.
I mean, really, and we're really at the cusp of this. They're doing things now where they have stem cell eye drops for people that have eye injuries. The intravenous stem cells help with all sorts of neurological conditions and all sorts of issues that people have, particularly when they go to, say, Colombia, the bioaccelerator place, or Neil Reardon's place, which is in Panama.
Yeah.
It's amazing what they can do now. So anyway, this shoulder, many years later, zero problems.
Zero problems.
I do
Just stem cells.
90-pound clean presses with this.
Jeez.
And I do windmills with it. So I'm putting it in these compromising positions where I'm doing this with windmills with 90 pounds. No
Jeez.
problems. Zero pain.
Yeah.
Throwing full punches, zero pain.
Nice.
No problem. Pull a 90-pound bow back. No problem. No issues at all. And this was that close to getting cut. And now it doesn't bother me at all. I mean, there's like nothing wrng with it. Like,
It's so wild, right?
It's
Sometimes
crazy.
the wildest thing that I one time had was that I had a really the little pinky sticker because I hit somebody's hip, like in a karate gi, hit a hip, and it was before a fight. So I'm arriving at the Pancras for fighting, and the judge, who was the judge, was really good freaking body mechanic guy. I mean, everybody from around the world would go to that guy to have him look at him, because he was just really good with Tai Chi and whatever he did. What is it? Acupressure, all that kind of stuff. And he went to me and he says, "Okay, give me a hand." I relaxed it, and he pushed on 3 spots. I was like, "Ah, shit. He goes, "No, just," and he wiped it out. He does it again. I go, "Okay." He says, "Okay, how is it now?" And I go, "It's completely gone. Like zero pain, not even a hint of it." And he just opened up the pain blockages that he said that he was pressing, and he was on the money, man. He said, "Go, ow." And the second time was already less, and the third time he says, "It should be good now." I go,
That's so weird.
Right, nothing.
That's
Zero.
so weird.
Yeah.
What is it like now to rely on your left hand? Because now you're thinking about, if you're going to fuck somebody up, you're going to left hand them. You're not going to throw straight right anymore.
Oh, no.
No problem?
My triceps still work.
Oh,
no, I will
okay.
knock you out. and my uppercuts
So
is coming back.
the punches is still good. The
Oh,
uppercut,
yeah.
the
The
uppercut's
uppercut's
more
a
of an
little
issue.
less. Yeah, a little
Right.
less because of the
And
shoulder,
the
but the
hook's a
shoulder
little
also
less.
came back. Also the hook. You know, I tell people when I'm doing a shadow boxing, I say, don't look at my right arm, because it's probably going to be a little off. Look at the left, what I'm doing. But no, my crosses are there. So thankfully my triceps came back.
Maybe in 12 more years, you get a full bicep.
Who knows?
Well, I mean,
don't
maybe
even focus on
less.
it anymore.
If they figure out some way to fix, it's just like the medical the advances that are happening are so magical.
Yep.
It's really, really incredible time.
It doesn't stop. This whole talks with the Mr. Kaku you had, with the quantum computers and all that stuff.
Michio Kaku, yeah.
And it's all going to be probably in our bodies, right? It's something like that eventually is going to happen.
Yeah. What do you think about that, boss?
I'm very scared of that, because they can hack me then.
Yeah.
I don't think if you...
I know. I like how you go right to that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I would do if I'm a bad guy. I'm going to hack him.
That's a real problem. It's a real problem, because that's what I think the people that control the world, they would genuinely like to have a one world government, one economy that the entire world shares, a digital currency that goes with a social credit system.
So they can turn it off and on.
And they can do whatever the fuck they want with you. BJ Penn just made some post about that. If you have an electric car and you get arrested, or if they're looking for you, they could literally tell your electric car to drive to the police station.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck
No.
that.
Yeah. I would never go full electric. I don't think it's if you have, get an electric but also get gas on the side.
Yeah. I have an electric car that I love. I have a Tesla, and it's fucking magic.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The
it's the best.
speed of that thing is magic.
Yeah, 2.3, right? Or
Oh,
something.
it's
insanity.
faster. I think it's like what is the Plaid 0 to 60? It's fucking insane. It's 1,100 horsepower. It's so fast. It's so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's so quiet. It's just like that's my calm car. It's my car that I love when I want to drive to work and just chill out and think and listen to music. I drive that car because it just makes no sound.
Yeah, but super powerful.
But it's very safe too in that if you have to merge on the highway, you just hit the gas.
Yeah.
It's like you're teleporting. I love that car. I love it so much. It's so good. There's a lot of things that they have a weird steering wheel. It has the yoke steering wheel, so it's not a wheel. But now they offer it in a
I don't know if anyone's here, but
number one problem.
You
thanks.
still have to keep your head.
I fell asleep again.
To do
I'm gonna
auto
go
driving?
sign
Yeah,
off.
because
I'm really tired.
hang
Thanks
weights
for
on
being
it or
here.
something, I hear now.
Sorry if you're waiting for me.
No,
I
don't
was
fuck with
sleeping.
auto.
Yeah.
I
Apologize.
mess around with it every now and then just for fun.
Have
but
a
I
good
never
night.
let it drive
You're
me
the
around.
best,
I keep
and
it.
I'll see you soon.
Do
Talk to
you
you
fuck
soon.
around with it, Jamie? You got the full auto drive, right? You got
Aaron,
that
thank you for the
steering
sub, man. You're a fucking man.
Just for like,
wheel. Yeah.
if I'm on a 10-minute drive, I would maybe use the